Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has sharingan and byakugan in fairy tale. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by SNAZZYCAKE101 and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Long ago, before magic even made its first spark, there was shinobi, otherwise known as ninjas. Shinobi were very powerful, deadly, taking their enemies in a quick move. They ruled all of the elemental nations, divided and living in their own regions. They thrived, lived in peace and harmony. But war broke out and all-powerful goddess named Kagaya Otsutsuki, the mother of all chakra, was revived. The war devastated the land and the people. Many shinobi fighting in the war lost their lives. The war caused great sorrow, grief, hatred, pain and death. A brave powerful ninja by the name of Naruto Uzumaki manages to seal away the goddess forever, thus ending the war. But at the cost of his own life. Naruto and Hinata watched in horror as they watched Neji plummet to the ground after being brutally stabbed by the Ten Tails' deadly wood projectiles. Naruto rushed over to Neji and picked him up, holding onto him tightly. Naruto looked around, searching the battlefield for the medical team. Neji rested his chin on Naruto's shoulder. Already on death's doorsteps. Medics? Where are you? We have a critical injury here. Hurry. Naruto shouted frantically, despair in his voice. No, I'm going to die. Neji said bluntly, accepting his fate. Neji. Naruto muttered. Nai-san. Hinata said sadly. Naruto, Lady Hinata is willing to die for you. So, you hold more than one life in your hands. And it seems my life too may have been one of them. Neji said, looking at the crying Hinata with a warm smile. Why? Why did you do this here? Why would you go so far for me? Even give up your life? Naruto asked tearfully. Because you called me a genius. Neji answered. Naruto scrunched his eyes as tears streamed down his face. Before I die, Naruto, take my byakugan. Neji said. Naruto perked up in shock, he couldn't believe what he just heard. What? But. You better hurry, once I die, this byakugan will be sealed away forever and the enemy won't just stand around waiting for you, so hurry. Have Lady Hinata transplant them for you. Neji cut off Naruto. Hinata sobbed, her hands rubbing her eyes like a child. Are you sure? I'm not even a Hyuga. Naruto said, still a little unsure. Until Hinata placed her hand on top of Naruto's. Come on Naruto-kun, we don't have time for that, we have to hurry up. She said. Okay. Naruto finally conceded. Hinata moved closer to Neji and Naruto and began the transplanting process. Soon, Hinata was finished, she cupped Naruto's face with both her hands, looking into Naruto's newly transplanted eyes with her own. Use it wisely, Neji Nyasan entrusted you with his byakugan, make good use of it. Hinata said. Naruto nodded, thank you, I will, I promise. Naruto promised. Later in the war. It happened again, just like on their first mission. Sasuke stood in front of a completely shocked Naruto, with one of Kagaya's deadly chakra rods poking through Sasuke's gut. Kagaya's face showed amusement, while Naruto's face only showed pain and sorrow, and Sasuke held a smile on his, blood leaked out from his mouth. Sasuke laid on the verge of death in his best friend's arms. Naruto deactivated Sage of Six Paths mode. No, not again. Naruto said sadly. Sasuke chuckled. Why did you block the attack? Naruto asked, a little frustrated. Sasuke scoffed quietly, well, my body just moved on its own. Just like that time. Sasuke answered, referencing the time he took the blow of hundreds of senbons from Haku. Tears flowed out from Naruto's eyes. Naruto, you have to stop her, you have to live. Sasuke said. Naruto nodded. Sasuke smiled. Listen Naruto, there is something I want to give you, something that'll help you win this fight. Sasuke said. Naruto widened his eyes. I'm giving you my Rin Sharingan, as well as the Yin Seal. Sasuke revealed. Naruto's widened even more. Naruto, give me your left hand. Sasuke said. Naruto nodded and stuck out his left hand with his palm facing up. Sasuke in return placed his own left on top of Naruto's. He kept it there for a while before lifting it up. Naruto looked down at his left palm to see the moon seal that was once on Sasuke's left palm, on his. Naruto then watched Sasuke reach for his Dojutsu and literally taking the Rin Sharingan out of his eye socket. Naruto slightly cringed from the sight. Are you sure about this Sasuke? Naruto asked for insurance while Sasuke proceeded to implant the Rin Sharingan into Naruto's left eye. Yes, you are my best friend, I entrust you with that power. So use it wisely, you have the full power of the Sage of Six Paths, you have all tailed beasts inside of you, and you now possess the power of all the three great Dojutsu, Kagaya is no match for you now. Sasuke said. Then take this, Sasuke said, his arm slowly reached behind him and it grasped the Kusanagi. He carefully swung the sword around his body and handed it to Naruto. Naruto hesitated. "Just take it, you dope," Sasuke said firmly. Naruto nodded, taking the kusanagi from Sasuke's grip. "Thank you, Sasuke." He thanked, while Sasuke finally began fading away, but Naruto continued to clutch his best friend in his arms, weeping. All while Kagaya watched in amusement, cackling menacingly. Naruto looked up at the evil goddess with his new eyes angrily. He had one eye with a byakugan and one eye with a sharingan. He was hell-bent on killing her, or at least sealing her away for good. How amusing. How sweet and saddening, a dear friend dying in the hands of another dear friend. Kagaya teased. This only infuriated Naruto even more. "I'm gonna kill you," Naruto vowed. Kagaya smirked. "Bring it on, boy," she taunted. Naruto gritted his teeth, launching himself at the goddess, activating Sage of Six Paths mode. Naruto struck Kagaya in the guts head first like a rhino. Normally, such a violent head bump would cause severe brain damage to the head bumper, but it only gave Kagaya extreme violent nausea. Blood shot out from her mouth. Naruto smirked, using even more force, he launched the goddess into the sky. "Enjoy your ride," Naruto teased. Kagaya looked down at the blonde shinobi in hate and disgust. Naruto charged further towards the rabbit princess, sticking out both of his palms, preparing to seal away the mother of all chakra away forever. Kagaya noticed and panicked, she readied herself for another teleportation jutsu. "You're too late," Naruto shouted, having finally come into contact with Kagaya. As soon as Naruto touched Kagaya, the sealing jutsu immediately began working its way on sealing away the goddess forever. Kagaya narrowed her eyes. "No. I won't go down like this. I will take you down with me," Kagaya said, and she meant what she said. As another black chakra rod slid down from her long, oversized sleeves, her hands grabbed onto it. "It's too late for any of those words now," Naruto shouted, oblivious to what Kagaya was doing right now. Kagaya smirked, she took the rod and plunged it through Naruto's gut, just like how it happened with Sasuke. Before the sealing jutsu completely sealed her away. Sage of Six Paths mode was deactivated. Naruto screamed in pain as he fell to the ground, landing violently with his back facing the ground. Naruto clutched onto his stomach, blood dripping from his mouth. Naruto panted hard, finally spreading out his arms and legs, accepting his fate. So this is how Naruto Uzumaki dies. Naruto mumbled quietly to himself as he stared up at the blue sky. Naruto scoffed, "How pathetic." With that, Naruto's eyes began shutting. His breathing stopped. "Forgive me, Sakura-chan, Kakashi-sensei, but this is goodbye." To be continued. SNAZZYCAKE 101. So, to people who haven't read my announcement on the Fairy Tail Ninja. First off, you're probably wondering, this must be going in your head snazzy. What's with the new Fairy Tail and Naruto crossover? Well, I just came up with a new idea and I wanted to publish it for real. This has some similarities with the Fairy Tail Ninja, but it has its differences. I hope you like this new idea. This will be following the canon, but not for a few chapters, and it won't start entirely from the beginning of the anime. Also, Naruto's introduction to Fairy Tail will be later on in the story, unlike the Fairy Tail Ninja. And boy did I have a hard time coming up with this one lol. So yes, Naruto gains all of his new powers before his arrival to Earthland. And I promise I won't nerf up or fuck up Naruto's power. And yes, although Naruto may be godlike and powerful, I still have to try my best to limit his use of power, because we all know just him alone without all of the enhancement I gave him in this story, with his original power. His power probably equals Acnologia's from Fairy Tail, if not he's even more powerful than Acnologia, or I'd say even Zeref. Also, I know this is kind of short and the fight with Kagaya is short, but the meaning of those two flashbacks are really to tell how Naruto got the Byakugan, Rin Sharingan, Yin Seal and Kusanagi. The fight with Kagaya was just a little something extra I added, so just wanna let you know before you start complaining on how short I made Naruto and Kagaya's fight was. Also, pairing hasn't been decided yet, but maybe going for harem. But I hope you enjoy this new crossover, stay tuned for chapter 2. And CH25 of the Fairy Tail Ninja is on its way. Naruto laid on the ground, arms and legs spread and relaxed. Naruto smiled, welcoming death with it. So it seems I'll be joining you on the other side, Sasuke, Naruto thought. Naruto deactivated both of his Dojutsu and looked into the sky. His eyes held sadness. It's about time I join you too, Mom, Dad. Finally, Naruto began fading away in the same fashion as Sasuke and Obito did whenever they were struck with the black rods. Naruto closed his eyes, his breathing stopped. And eventually, his entire body was gone. Naruto thought he left the mortal world, he thought he was going to join his other beloved people, he thought everything was over. But Lord Kami had a different plan for the young shinobi. Naruto woke up, coughing. He immediately grimaced from the lingered pain he felt from his guts, which the location he had been stabbed. Naruto looked around, observing and taking in his surroundings. He sat in the middle of a forest, he didn't look so hot. Naruto came back the way he was left, shabby torn up clothes. His body was covered in grim blood and wounds. What the hell is this? I'm supposed to be dead. Naruto wondered suspiciously. Wait, this must be heaven, he thought. Naruto relaxed a bit more. He then heard a low, rumbling chuckle coming from inside him. Well kid, you couldn't be more wrong, Kurama said out of nowhere, slightly startling his host. Hey Kurama, you're still here. Naruto said to him in joy. TCH, it ain't that easy to get rid of me, Kurama replied. What is this place, Kurama? Is this heaven? Naruto asked, still clutching onto his broken body. No, you've been given the chance to live a new life, Kurama finally revealed. Naruto widened his eyes in shock, although he didn't believe the fox's words. Come on now you stupid furball, where are we really? Naruto asked more seriously. He isn't lying, son, Goku said to Naruto just as seriously. Naruto couldn't believe those words. How do you guys know? Naruto asked, getting more curious and curious by the second. We all met up with the Sage of Six Paths and he told us you deserve to start a new life, Kurama said. Naruto sighed, oh was all he said, finally believing Kurama's words. Kurama let out a deep gravely sigh. Remember, Naruto. We will always be here for you, for whatever you need, Jayuki said. Naruto nodded, thank you. Naruto looked around and saw the Kusanagi lying on the ground just beside him. Naruto reached over to pick it up, he looked at it in more detail. Oh yeah, Sasuke gave me this, he gave me his eye, he entrusted me with his power. Only thing is, I have no idea on how to use this sword or this eye, Naruto went through in his head. I'm not really good with the byakugan either, let's just say I'm not good with the new stuff I've been given. Well, I did just recently get these new powers, it's not like I could just learn how to use them in an instant. Well then, I'll just have to train and learn to use my new powers, but this time I'll be on my own, Naruto thought. Naruto strolled around the forest, carrying the Kusanagi in his hands, discovering a river bank. He sat on a rock just beside the river bank. When Naruto looked into his reflection in the water, he saw just how totaled his clothes. Aw man, gonna need some new clothes. Maybe I can summon Gamakichi to bring me some new clothes from Mount Myaboku, Naruto thought. So Naruto took the time to nurse his body back to health, of course, he had help from the tailed beasts. But it took a good 7 days, even with all his healing powers to nurse his body back to health. For 1 year in the new world, Naruto goes through rigorous training. Training every hour of the day, through the nights. He trained non-stop. Non-stop was an understatement, the only times he took any breaks was when he was hungry. But other than that, Naruto trained whenever he can, while also remaining secluded in the forest, never revealing himself to the new world. They were painful, tough times. Naruto never stopped, he continued to practice and practice until he felt he has perfected whatever he worked on. Naruto practiced with all 3 of the Dijutsu, becoming better and better each day. Of course he knew there was still so much to learn. Naruto trained with the Kusanagi as well, and even learned to use the Chidori, which of course took time to perfect. Naruto even knows how to form a combination of Chidori and the Rasengan. The Rasengan would be the core, while the Chidori would surround it. Obviously, it would be devastating for anyone that would be hit with this combination. When time hit the 1-year mark, Naruto was already 18 years old. His bond with the tailed beasts are stronger than ever. Naruto's clothes had also reached its final limit. Fortunately, Naruto could summon the toads from Mount Myaboku. So Gamakichi decided to have new clothing made for Naruto, including a new forehead protector. Naruto's new outfit consists of a orange long-sleeved kimono shirt, on top of that was a black sleeveless kimono shirt, in which he kept that one open. The 2 kimono shirts he wore was held together by a red ribbon. Naruto donned black caprices with black shinobi sandals. And on top of all of that was a red sage cloak with a high collar that reached up to his ears. For the Kusanagi, it was held in a sheath in which Naruto carried on his body, wearing the sheath over his body. And a leaf headband finished off his outfit. Naruto's physical appearance has changed as well. Naruto's hair grew slightly longer, it became more wild and slightly messier, his bangs nearly cover up his eyes. His hair locks are now chin length. However, his hair was still not as long as his father's. It's no surprise for a person who's trained non-stop for a year to gain muscles. Naruto had the perfect body, nice broad shoulders and a strong built body. Naruto still remains isolated from the outside world, therefore he has no idea that magic was a thing, no idea that there were wizards. Naruto certainly doesn't have a clue that Shinobi and himself were already known to this world. SNAZZYCAKE 101. So here is CH2. I hope you enjoy this chapter even though it was just introductions and explanations of what happened and how Naruto arrived in Earthland. But I like it so far and I hope you guys do too. If you spot any mistakes please let me know. I also hope you like the new outfit I gave Naruto. Also, see the cover of this story. I drew that picture, it's to give you guys an idea of how Naruto's new look and outfit is supposed to look like. I did my best to make sure Naruto didn't look like a shadow clone of Minato, and I know the sage cloak covers most of his outfit, but I didn't realize that until I was done with the pic. I hope you like the drawing I did for you guys. Also, I know the first 2 chapters were short, but I try making them longer in future chapters. So still have no idea of what the pairing should be, give me you guys suggestions. Please comment, like, share, do all that fun good stuff. Also, I hope you guys liked how I brought Naruto into the world of fairy tale. I was having a hard time with that, and this what I came up with, so hope you guys like it. A young beautiful woman with scarlet long hair dressed in heavy armor walked through the streets of Magnolia. Her name was Urza Scarlet. Known as Titania of fairy tale, she is one of the most powerful wizards in the land of Fiori. Urza had just come back from a solo mission in Harjan. She was very satisfied with the reward she got from it. She walked through the streets, dragging along a cart full of luggage like usual, on her way home to fairy tale. The only thing that bothered her was one incident that happened on her journey back from her job. Flashback. Urza strolled along the trail that would lead her home. All was fine, it seemed peaceful, quiet. There was only her and nature. At least that's what Urza thought. As Urza walked further down the path, she got closer and closer to the outskirts of Magnolia. Urza was stopped whenever she saw a kunai stabbed randomly into the ground. Urza widened her eyes. Is that, she wondered. Before she made any moves, Urza's head peeked around her surroundings, searching for anything that seemed fishy. After she was confident that this wasn't an enemy trap, Urza cautiously approached the kunai knife. Is this an actual kunai? Urza mumbled to herself quietly, bending over. Urza then reached for the knife and grabbed hold of the handle. Urza gulped, she couldn't believe her eyes. She finally took out of the ground and held it a little closer, taking a closer look at it. Wow, it feels so real, Urza thought in awe. She narrowed her eyes, getting a little suspicious. But why is this here? How's it here? These only existed in the legends and nothing else. There's no way this could real. Urza thought, suddenly getting serious. A sudden rustle in the bushes startled Urza, her head perked up and she shot up to her feet, trying to find the source of the rustle. She widened her eyes even more when she saw such a familiar figure. She didn't know who or what it was. All she could see was sun-kissed spiky hair. Urza stared in shock, who is that? Urza wondered. The figure turned around and looked at the scarlet-haired woman. Urza stepped a little closer, hoping to get a better look at the man. But to Urza's disappointment, his face was masked by shadows cast by the trees and the sun. In a quick move, the man disappeared in a flash. Wait. Urza shouted desperately. But it was no use, the man had already disappeared in a flash. Urza looked down at the kunai she still gripped in her hand. She narrowed her eyes. Who was that? And why did he look so much like her? Urza paused. Whatever, I should probably tell the guild about this, she thought, slipping the kunai into the back of her skirt. Flashback ends. Urza stopped walking, standing in the middle of the street while other civilians walked past her casually. Did I just imagine that? Was it real? Could it really be him? Urza thought, a little in doubt. Urza sighed, if I tell the guild, they probably won't believe me anyway, even if I show them the kunai, she thought. Should I even tell them about this? Urza wondered. Urza then continued walking through town. And when she finally arrived at the front doors of the Fairy Tale Guild Hall, Urza stood there for a while, still thinking through everything. Urza took in a deep breath and pushed open the 2 big doors of Fairy Tale, walking into the lively guild. Urza gulped, walking over to the master slowly. Yo Urza, what's up? How was your mission? Master Makarov of Fairy Tale asked joyfully. Urza smiled, it was a success, master. She replied. Makarov chuckled, that's great. Glad to hear it. He said. Urza couldn't help but chuckle herself. Just when Urza was preparing to the old man of the incident that happened. Natsu, Gray, Happy and Lucy walked over to Urza, greeting her casually. Hey Urza. So, how did your mission go? I can only guess it went well. Lucy smiled. Yes indeed. Urza replied. That's awesome. We're having a party. You wanna join? Natsu said cheerfully. Lucy scoffed, since when are we not having a party? She teased. Gray smirked. Urza smiled, sure. She said. Maybe I'll just tell them tomorrow. XXX Fairy, Hills XXX. Urza sat down on her bed holding the kunai in her hands, eyeing it carefully. Staring at her reflection in the kunai. Flashback. They say, long before magic and wizards existed, lived shinobi who utilized a source called chakra. They were very powerful, they used many different kinds of weapons, shurikens, kunes and more. There was also a very powerful shinobi by the name of Naruto Uzumaki, and it is said that when war broke out and when all-powerful goddesses revived, he gave up his life to seal her life away forever. Makarov told. Flashback ends. Urza recalled a time where Makarov told the entire guild about that tale, whenever Natsu came running in after supposedly hearing the very same thing from a mission. But now, Urza started wondering about everything. Were they really real? Did shinobi really live? Did they really exist? Was there really a war? Was there really a goddess? And was there really a Naruto Uzumaki? How did such an idea ever been brought up? Is this kunai I'm holding even real? Was what I saw even real? Was I just imagining things? Ever since that incident, all of these things ran through Urza's mind non-stop. Urza sighed, gosh, why am I even fussing so hard over something as trivial as this? Flashback. Hey master, do you know what Naruto Uzumaki looked like? A curious Natsu asked. Makarov looked at Natsu, what's wrong boy, why are you so interested in this? He asked. Urza listened in. Is he still alive? Natsu continued to ask. Gray scoffed, what do you think idiot? Of course he's not. He said. Natsu gave Gray a stinky look, who in which returned the look. Natsu sighed in disappointment, man, I wanted to fight him. Makarov chuckled, well a lot, people said he had blonde spiky hair and he had whiskers on his face, 3 on each side. Sky blue eyes, and that's all really Makarov told. Oh was all Natsu said. The guild laughed. Flashback ends. Well, I did see that man he did have blonde spiky hair, but drats. I couldn't see his face Urza thought. Urza shook her head, trying to clear her mind of the crazy things, still looking down at the knife. Urza took her pointer finger and gently poked the tip of the kunai, immediately retracting her finger from its sharpness. Wow, it certainly is very sharp finally, Urza set the kunai right beside her on the nightstand, lying down on the bed, preparing to go to sleep. I want to keep digging into this, I want to find that man. XXX in the forest XXX. Naruto sat against the trunk of a tree in the quiet night. He sighed, that was a close one, I'm glad she didn't see what I looked like Naruto thought in relief, recalling the incident when a girl with scarlet hair that surprisingly looked so much like his mother picked up one of his kunai and almost saw him. Yo kid, so still gonna remain isolated from this world. You know, there is a reason why the Sage of Six Paths sent you here, it's not for you to hide from the world, it's for you to interact with the people in it and use your new powers to help them out, maybe even search for peace Kurama said. Naruto scoffed, never had he thought he would hear someone like Kurama say something like that. He looked at the giant nine-tailed fox. I'm still not ready yet Naruto said. The tailed beast sighed, well, we're with you no matter what Shukaku said. Naruto nodded in place for a thanks. Naruto narrowed his eyes, he just couldn't get over the fact of how much that woman he saw resembled his mother. Still though, why did she look at my kunai like it was some kind of Naruto paused on his thoughts, unable to word it out. Whatever Naruto thought nonchalantly. XXX morning at the Fairy Tale Guild Hall XXX. Urza walked into the guild hall, this time for sure ready to her guild of the incident. Mira was one of the first to see the serious look on Urza's face. Hey Urza, you look a little too serious even for you, is everything alright? Mira asked out of curiosity. Yeah, I'm fine. Urza replied. Mira looked at Urza for a while before nodding, okay, if you say so. Lucy also just arrived at the guild hall, waving at the scarlet-haired woman. Hey Urza. Lucy waved. Urza sat down. Hey Urza. Let's fight. A cheerful Natsu came shouting in. Ugh. Urza let out. Oh come on. Let's fight. I want to beat you. Natsu pouted. Elfman, Mira's younger brother scoffed. TCH, there's no way you'd be able to beat Urza. You'd have to be a man to be able to beat her in a battle. Elfman preached. Natsu gave Elfman an irate look, I am a man. Elfman burst into laughter. Natsu turned back to Urza, bugging her once more. Listen Natsu, I'm in the mood for this right now. Urza said. Hey Natsu. Fight me. Gray shouted, charging at Natsu and crashing his forehead onto Natsu's, giving him the most stereotypical rivalry look. Natsu returned the look. The whole guild sighed, there they go again. Mira said. Makarov chuckled. Ugh, those two will never get along. Lucy groaned. Who said anything about me fight you? Natsu spat rudely into his rival's face. Me. Listen, if you can't even beat Urza in a fight, you'll never be able to beat Naruto Uzumaki in a fight. Gay insulted. Happy smiled sheepishly, now Natsu. Natsu growled, well, you wouldn't be able to beat him either. Gray scrunched his eyes, about to retaliate with his own words, until Urza came in between the two fighting boys, putting both her hands on them, each one on their heads, and pushed them apart. That's quite enough already boys. Urza said in a stern scary voice, instilling slight fear in the Natsu and Gray, who stopped their little bickering. Yes, ma'am. The two boys replied. Urza sighed and released them. The guild laughed. Urza turned to her guild, giving them a serious look. What's wrong Urza? Lucy asked. Listen up. I have important news I have to say to you guys. Urza informed. Well go on Urza. Makarov encouraged. Urza took in a deep breath. Well everyone listened in. Yesterday on a mission, I had an incident. Urza began. Incident? Are you okay, Urza? Lucy asked worryingly. Yes, I'm fine, Lucy. Urza assured. Anyways, this is what I found. Urza said, reaching over to the back of her blue skirt and carefully pulling the kunai out and holding out for everyone to see, dangling it from the handle. Makarov widened his eyes while the whole guild gasped, including Lucy. Urza. Where'd you find that? Makarov demanded. It was just stabbed randomly in the ground, I saw it and I picked it up. Urza said. Urza, is that really a real kunai knife? Mira asked nervously. Well, I've been asking myself that question since I found it. Urza said. Natsu gulped, whoa. It looks so cool. I've never seen one before. Natsu said childishly. Gray punched Natsu, shut up you fire freak. This is no time to be foolish. Gray said. TCH. Was all Natsu replied to the ice wizard. But why would it just be stabbed in the middle of the ground randomly? And more importantly, how? Levi questioned. Yeah, we all know these only existed in the myths. Lucy said. Urza narrowed her eyes, eyeing the knife more carefully. Yeah, how do we even know it's real? Mikao asked. Well, try touching the tip, you all said that kunai were sharp, right? I felt it last night and seemed pretty sharp. Urza said. Lucy carefully walked up and stuck out her pointer finger, lightly grazing the tip of the kunai. Wow, it really is sharp. Lucy said, immediately taking her finger away. Also, this isn't all that happened. Whenever I was taking a closer look at it, I saw someone in the bushes, I couldn't a lot, all I saw was bright blonde spiky hair, a long red coat with a high collar and a sword on his back. Well, he did turn around to look at me, I was about to get a good at him, but his face was covered up by shadows, and then he just disappeared in a flash. So fast, faster than any wizard alive. Urza explained. Some of the members looked at Urza with doubt. Urza, are you trying to say that you saw Naruto Uzumaki? Mira asked. Urza nodded. Everyone looked at Urza in shock. Silence filled the air before the guild burst into laughter. Man. What a load of bull. Natsu said. Urza grunted in frustration, I'm serious you guys. You would believe me if you had been there with me. Urza said. Mira looked at Urza sympathetically. Urza, how do you know it's Naruto? You do know he's been dead since long before magic existed. Mikao said. Urza looked down, I know what I saw. I have a theory that this kunai belongs to him. Urza said. Come on Urza. Someone like you shouldn't be believing in something like this. Elfman said. Urza sighed, I know, but it seemed so real. She said. You probably just imagined it. Lucy said. I guess. Urza said in defeat. After that Urza decided to take a little walk in the forest, back to the same forest where she found the kunai. As I thought, no one believes me. I can't blame them, Urza thought. Urza stopped at the spot where she found the kunai. Urza looked at the forest that surrounded the path. Urza strayed from it and walked into the forest. As Urza wandered further into the forest, she started feeling an intense power aura. God. What is this feeling? Urza wondered. Urza wandered even more further until she started spotting trees with unusual scratch marks. She walked up to one and observed the scratch marks. No, an animal couldn't have made these. These marks definitely came from a very sharp object, Urza deduced, going further into forest where the aura increased even more. Finally, Urza gently and quietly pushed through the tough layers bushes until she finally reached an open space where she finally found him. SNAZZYCAKE 101, ha. Left you on a cliffhanger, didn't I? Ha 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 ha, I'm so evil. Well, too bad. You'll just have to wait till the next chapter comes out. JK, CH2 will be out no time. Also, I have decided the pairing, it will be another Urza. I hope you like this chapter. Poor Urza, no one believes her. By the way, if you are wondering why it takes place, it is a little after the lullaby arc. Urza stared in complete utter shock and disbelief. There it was again, the brilliant blonde spiky hair that she once saw. Urza, still in doubt, tried maneuvering around the bushes, wanting a better closer look at him. She just had to get a look at his face. All while Naruto sat there in the middle of the open space, meditating peacefully, the Kusanagi laying beside him. Seemingly oblivious of his stalker. Finally, Urza got to a spot where she was literally looking square at Naruto's face. She smirked, I finally found you, I only wished some other people were with me, Urza thought. Although Naruto made it seem like he was oblivious to Urza, but he had already sensed her long before she found him. Hey kid, you gonna talk to her? Kurama asked. Maybe not, I'm moving to a different area, I don't like being watched while in peace, Naruto said. TCH, whatever you say, Kurama replied. Naruto opened his eyes and got up onto his feet, bending down to grab the Kusanagi. Urza widened her eyes, no. He's leaving again. Urza thought a little frantically. Naruto once again turned around to look at Urza, whose heart was melted by his kind sky blue eyes, mesmerized by them, marveling at Naruto's wild blonde spiky hair, and she adored his innocent whiskers. Before Naruto left he spoke softly, but loud enough for the Scarlet to hear. "Sorry, but maybe another time." Urza gasped, finally having the courage to come out of the bushes and really face the legendary figure, but not before Naruto disappeared in a flash again. Urza stood in the spot of Naruto, smelling the lingering scent of ramen on him. Urza gripped her fists tight, frustrated with herself. Damn it. I'm such a fool. I should have had more courage to face him. Talk to him. And there's no doubt about it. That was him. That was the famous legendary Naruto Uzumaki, Urza confirmed, while also berating herself for messing up yet again. Question is, should I tell the guild? Urza wondered. Urza began walking back to the guild hall, pondering over if she should in fact tell the guild about this. It is him. Those whiskers, that blonde spiky hair and those stunning blue eyes. It's gotta be him. Urza thought. I can tell he must be very powerful just from the aura he gave off. He's definitely someone not to anger, Urza continued. I have to get him to talk to me. I want to know why he's here, how he is here, and more. I need to get his attention, and I'm going to. Urza thought confidently. Urza continued strolling through the streets. Should I tell the guild? She wondered. Urza shook her head. No, they'd never believe me, but it doesn't mean I have to stop searching for him, Urza smirked. I'm going out there again and I'm going to find him. If he really is out there, he's alone, no one to show him around this world, because who knows how long he's been here. Naruto has done so many great things, and he is the reason why magic and wizards exist, someone has to be there for him. Urza thought. But then there is a good chance he just wants to be left alone, but even so. I at least have to get a good talk with him. Urza thought, finally coming to a resolve. Urza finally arrived back at the guild, and she was still unsure of whether she should her fellow guildmates of this incident. Urza knew no one believed her, even Natsu. Which was odd, Natsu should be the one of the people who do believe her, since Natsu has always looked up to Naruto, and he even wanted to fight him. Urza then pushed open the doors, walking into the noisy guild hall. Hello, Urza. Mira greeted cheerfully. Urza just responded with a simple wave. Urza sat down at the bar in the stool looking over to Mira, who approached her. So, are you still thinking about the stuff with Naruto or that kunai? Mira asked. Urza nodded. Mira sighed. Do you really believe that he's really out there? Naruto Uzumaki. Mira asked. Urza remained silent. Maybe I'll tell Mira. Yes, I do, he's really out there. Urza said. Mira tilted her head, looking at Urza questionably. How are you so sure? Mira asked. Urza shrugged. Mira took in a deep breath and let it out. Why are you so determined in finding someone that's not even alive? Mira asked. Urza chuckled. I ask myself that question all the time, Mira. Mira couldn't help but giggle herself. It would be very interesting to see Naruto. How would everyone react? I mean, he's basically a legendary figure now. I mean, Natsu himself wants to fight him. Mira said. Urza laughed. I'm going to look again tomorrow. Mira nodded. You be careful, okay, Urza? Urza nodded to the barmaid. After hanging out for a little while longer at the guild with her friends, Urza headed back to Fairy Hills. As Urza stepped into her home, she thought more and more about the situation. What happens if we actually come face to face? What if he comes off a little hostile? What if he runs off again? Urza thought about all the what ifs and didn't want to continue on with the what ifs. But then, he said sorry, but maybe another time. So does that mean he intends on actually meeting me? Urza wondered as she sat down on her bed. So many questions, Urza knew these questions could only be answered if she really managed to confront him face to face. Urza got into her pajamas and went to sleep, deciding to deal with all of the madness the next day. And there Urza was again, in the forest searching for the blonde shinobi. Urza carefully followed the path where she had originally found Naruto, hoping that he would be there again. But Urza immediately knew he wasn't there because she didn't feel that same intense power aura she had felt when Naruto had been there. When Urza arrived at that open space, just as she thought, no one was there. Damn it. Urza cursed and continued to walk on, treading further from the area. Urza walked on, poking her head around and scanning through the trees. She kept this up for only up to an hour before she was starting to lose faith again. I should head back for now, Urza said in disappointment. Urza began heading back to the guild, with no leads and sign of the legendary shinobi. I wonder if he's trying to avoid me, Urza thought as she treads. She sighed. And there it was again, just before Urza completely left the area she had just explored, she felt it again. The immense familiar energy coming from somewhere. It caused Urza to stop walking and she looked back, there it is again. That aura. Just like before. But then that means Ira paused. Without hesitation, Urza turned back and ran towards the aura. Urza knew this familiar aura, it's gotta be him, it has to be him. Urza thought without doubt. Finally she stopped, panting slightly. Urza looked around. Now slowly walking around, she could still feel the aura. Urza walked, and finally, she saw him once again from afar. Naruto was leaning against the trunk of a tree, napping peacefully. Urza smiled, having finally found Naruto Uzumaki. "I finally found you," she though triumphantly. And this time, Urza didn't bother to hesitate, she boldly walked up the sleeping blondie, he looked so innocent, and he was sleeping so soundly that Urza slightly didn't want to awake him from his slumber. But this was it, after going through so much trouble, she won't let another good opportunity slip away. Urza leaned over Naruto's body, tapping his shoulder gently. Ezra looked around and saw the Kusanagi laying right beside its owner. Wow, he's a swordsman, interesting, Urza thought. Naruto finally began opening up his eyes. When he saw the same scarlet-haired woman from before, he widened his eyes, immediately shooting them fully open. Urza only watched in shock, it was really him. Naruto frantically stood up, snatching the Kusanagi and stepping aside from the tree and looked at Urza with his blue eyes. "I can't believe it. It really is you. Naruto Uzumaki," Urza said. Naruto backed away and arched an eyebrow in confusion. "Who the hell are you? And how the hell do you know my name?" Naruto asked a bit rudely. Urza also lifted a brow in the same fashion. But after a couple of awkward moments, she finally realized the issue. Right. Of course. So he doesn't know anything about this world. And he doesn't know me, nor does he know that he's already well known here and stupid me for not introducing myself, Urza deduced, a face of realization on her face. Naruto remained puzzled. "Listen, I don't know who you are, but I should get going," Naruto said slyly, attempting to slip away, slipping the Kusanagi onto his back. Urza noticed he was leaving, and as Naruto turned his back towards Urza, she reached her arm out, grabbing hold of his with her right hand, stopping him in his tracks. Urza stared at the back of Naruto, marveling at his broad shoulders. Naruto gently shook Urza's hand and retracted his arm, his back still facing Urza. "Wait. I'm Urza Scarlet." Urza finally introduced herself. Naruto looked down, hesitant to make facial contact with her, partly because she looked so much like Kushina. "Please, let's talk about this. Let's look each other in the face and explain everything," Urza said sternly. But Naruto still refused to face her. "Face me?" Urza demanded with a serious face. Naruto sighed, he finally turned and looked into her brown eyes. "What do you want?" Naruto asked. "I just want to talk to you," Urza said. Naruto's face held mistrust. "I can't tell you about me, I don't know you. You may know about me somehow, but I can't reveal anything about me to you until you've earned my trust," Naruto said with the same stern voice. Urza narrowed her eyes. "I assure I am not trying anything here, I just want to have a peaceful talk and I promise to explain everything," Urza assured. Naruto arched a brow, still uneasy about trusting her. "Fine, but don't expect anything out of me," he said. Urza nodded. So Urza went on to tell Naruto about how he and Shinobi are legends and myths, about wizards and guilds and magic. By the end, Naruto had a better understanding of this world and thought about going out and reading books about this so-called magic and these so-called wizards. "So, now do you see?" Urza said. "I guess," Naruto said. Urza sighed. "How long have you been here?" Urza asked, hoping to get at least some answers out of him. "Well, she did just tell everything about her world and all, might as well tell her some about me," Naruto thought. 1 year. Naruto finally answered. Urza widened her eyes. 1 year. In this forest, Urza said. Naruto nodded. "I spent 1 year training and learning all of my new powers," he said. "But why didn't you ever show yourself to the world?" Urza asked. "Simply because I was too busy training," Naruto said, and it was the truth. "Wow, what were you training on?" Urza asked. "That is none of your business," Naruto said. Urza grunted in frustration. "And at least let me show you around this world, please," Urza begged. Naruto groaned irately, looking at her in irate. Kurama laughed. "Go kid. It's time you get out of this wretched forest," he rumbled. "Yeah. Go Naruto. You're ready," Shukaku encouraged, and so did the other tailed beasts. Naruto looked at her for a while before sighing and conceding. "Fine." Urza smirked, "Thanks." And so, Urza took Naruto around, showing him all the different places and things that happen within the town. Not minding the stares that were made at Naruto. When Urza had finally made it back to the guild, she was excited to introduce this legendary figure to her guild. Urza pushed open the doors in excitement, with Naruto standing behind her casually with his hand tucked inside his pant pockets. But only to find the members in panic. But before anyone said anything, the entire guild turned around and saw the unbelievable. Kana nearly choked on her beer, Wakaba spat out his cigarette in shock, Mira dropped 2 glasses full of beer onto the ground, causing to shatter, Makarov spat out the beer he drank, and everyone else stared in shock, Laxus was a bit stunned. And just like Urza, the guild could feel Naruto's intense power aura. Is that? But how? He's supposed to be dead. Laxus thought in disbelief. I'm seeing this, but I still don't believe it. Wakaba said. Same. Mikao replied. Elfman narrowed his eyes, so it turns out Urza was telling the truth. Urza looked behind her at the blondie and looked back at her guild. Naruto Uzumaki. Mira said. Urza nodded. The whole guild fell over in shock. Makarov's eyes were literally almost about to pop out of his skull. Naruto sighed, so, they know me too, huh? The wild messy blonde spiky hair, 6 whiskers 3 on each side, sky blue eyes, and that overflowing power energy. There is no doubt about it. This is him. The legendary Naruto Uzumaki. Makarov confirmed. What? Was all the whole guild could shout out. But Laxus didn't believe it at all. There's no way. Come you guys, you actually believe this bullcrap? That's just an illusion. Laxus said, ruining the moment. Naruto looked up at Laxus and narrowed his eyes. Listen Laxus. We didn't believe Urza at first, but there's no way we can doubt her, I mean come on. We're looking at him right now. Mikao said. Laxus scoffed. Naruto, a little angry from his words, he reached for his back ninja pouch and pulled out a normal kunai knife and threw it harshly up at his fellow blonde, purposely missing him. The kunai shot at Laxus, who dodged it as the kunai struck the wall with a deadly force that would have been critical for anyone to be hit. Laxus shook in fear, he looked into Naruto's eyes, and though they looked innocent, it struck paralyzing fear into Laxus as he could feel Naruto's energy. Everyone stared in shock, Urza was also very shocked. Naruto eyed Laxus sharply. Are you questioning my existence? Naruto asked in a deadly voice. Laxus shook his head frantically. Really? Are you sure? Naruto asked. Laxus gulped and nodded his head. Wow, that's the first time I've ever seen Laxus that scared. Wakaba said. Urza's eyes were wide open, well, he definitely can be very scary, much more scarier than me. Naruto is definitely not someone to mess with. I wouldn't want to mess with him. But that just makes him even more intriguing, Urza thought in awe. I still can't believe this legendary figure is standing right before us. Natsu would be overexcited right now. Mira said. Yeah, but he's not here, nor is Lucy or Gray. Kana said. Urza arched a brow, where are they? On a mission. She asked. Mira sighed, well, more than just a mission. They stole an S-class mission. Mira said. Makarov was still angry about that issue. Urza widened her eyes, face now showing rage. What? Gray went and tried to bring them back, but he hasn't been back in a while now. I'm assuming he got dragged along. So we need you to go and fetch them. Mira explained. Urza nodded firmly, you got it. I'll make sure to bring them back. If I have to drag them on a rope and drag them back, and I will. Urza assured. Mira and the rest of the guild nodded, a little more relieved. Urza smirked, turning over to look at Naruto, who was only listening in with a nonchalant expression. So, why don't you come with me? Help me out. Urza suggested. Naruto thought about it for a while. Though Kit. You need action. Let's see if your training proved fruitful. Kurama encouraged. Go Naruto. We'll be by your side no matter what. Jayuki said. Go Naruto. Son Goku joined in, as well as the other tailed beasts. Naruto paused, looking at the wizards. The guild stared curiously, while Laxus only looked at Naruto in disgust. Naruto smirked, why the hell not? Yeah. The whole guild cheered in excitement. This isn't happening, is it? The great Naruto Uzumaki and the great Titania Urza teaming up. This is not happening at all. Elfman said in disbelief. Urza smirked back, well then, what are we waiting for? We have some fools to retrieve. Oh, do they Naomi as well? Naruto asked. Urza nodded violently. Oh yes, one in particular too. Urza said, referring to Natsu. Naruto smirked, I guess it can't be helped. SNAZZYCAKE 101. Hey, guys. Sorry for a late update. I hope you enjoyed this chapter and how Naruto met Urza and the guild, although he won't be joining it right away, and he won't reveal as much as he did right away, unlike the fairy tale ninja, cause as you can see, he's a little more distant this time. Naruto already hates Laxus, and even Laxus is scared of Naruto. And as you can see, canon kicks start from here. Hope you enjoy my arrangements. As Naruto and Urza set off to Galuna Island, the whole guild eyed Naruto intently. Everyone has so many questions, so many wonders about this legendary figure. Makarov especially was intrigued by Naruto. Mira sighed. You know master, I wonder is he really that powerful? She asked. Makarov shrugged while the guild just looked at their master. He probably is, I can tell just from the aura he gives off. Naruto is certainly someone not to anger. Makarov said. The guild was awed. Wow. But that just makes him so much more awesome. Levi shouted. Jed and Droy smirked and nodded in agreement. I hope he joins this guild. Mikao said. Makarov looked down. Well, that would be up to him. But if he does, we will welcome him with open arms. Makarov said. For a while as Naruto and Urza walked through the streets on their way to the harbor, Naruto remained silent, thinking through everything that had just happened. After a while, Urza became slightly concerned and decided to start up a conversation in a most non-awkward way as possible. So, will you join the fairy tale guild? Urza asked. Naruto looked over to the Scarlet and for some reason, every time he looked at her, he only saw Kushina Uzumaki. Which was one of the reasons why he attempted to avoid Urza. Naruto hesitated but finally answered. I don't know. I see, well, you should give it a thought. Urza said. Naruto nodded. So, would you mind telling me more about you? Urza asked. Maybe later, I still don't feel ready yet. Naruto said. Urza smiled, it's okay, I understand. Naruto looked at Urza. Finally he smiled, your hair is very beautiful. Urza blushed slightly, thank you. So, who else knows me in this world? Naruto asked. Many people, I mean you're considered a legend here. Urza replied. Naruto looked around, oh really? He noticed many townspeople looking at Naruto like they had just witnessed Madara and Hashirama battle each other to the death. Also, there's one certain person in the guild who really looks up to you, he even wants to fight you. Urza said, again referring to Natsu. Naruto was surprised, who is it? Urza smirked, I'll tell you when we get there. Naruto sighed. The two continued walking down the streets, still not letting the stares from the people bother them. Urza narrowed her eyes, still frustrated on why Naruto still won't tell her anything. Naruto-san. She called out. Naruto stopped walking upon hearing the honorific. And boy does that honorific make him feel old. You don't have me call me by that, anything else is fine. San just makes me feel old. Naruto chuckled. Urza chuckled along, Naruto-kun. She said. Naruto nodded. With that Urza became dead serious again. I still don't know why you won't tell me anything about you, I want to know what happened. Urza said in a little demanding tone. But Naruto refused to answer her. Urza sighed in frustration. Naruto turned to Urza and poked her in the forehead in the same fashion Itachi did with Sasuke. Urza again blushed. Sorry, but maybe another time. Maybe after we return. Naruto smiled. Urza nodded. So, if you don't mind telling me. What is the S-class your friends took on? What are we up against? And what is Galuna Island? Naruto asked. Urza narrowed her eyes. Apparently, it's a cursed island and rumor has it that anyone who has gone to Galuna Island has never made it back alive. They say that you'll turn into a demon if you step on Galuna. Urza explained. Interesting. Naruto said. Urza looked at Naruto, do you believe it? I wonder if we'll actually turn into a demon. Urza asked. Not really. Naruto said bluntly. Well I don't care if I turn into a demon. I'll definitely bring those idiots back. Urza assured. Naruto chuckled. You know to be honest. I just wanted some action. I've been here for a year, training and learning all of my new powers, and I haven't really gotten into an actual battle in a while. It sounds interesting and fun. Urza smirked. So all you have to do is lift the curse, right? Naruto said. Urza nodded. Well, we might as well at least finish the job. One should never abandon their mission. Naruto suggested. Urza hesitated. I guess. Finally, Naruto and Urza arrived at the harbor where the boats would set sail from. The harbor of Harjan. Why are we riding on a boat? Naruto asked. Well, we are going overseas, Naruto-kun. Urza said. I guess so. Naruto said. Why, do you have an alternative to a boat? Urza asked. Naruto thought of just walking across on the water as it would be much easier that way for a ninja like him. But then again, that requires chakra and he knew that it is definitely something that Urza does not possess. Naruto shook his head. I do, but we'll try getting a boat. Urza nodded. It won't be easy though, I mean you did say that this island was cursed, no one would probably want to take us there. Naruto said. True, but let's just try anyway, you won't know if you try. Urza said. Yeah okay. Naruto replied. And so Urza asked many boatmen, attempting to convince one to take her and Naruto to Galuna Island. But every one of them refused. After many tries and fails, Urza was beginning to get frustrated. Damn it. Not a single boatman will take us to Galuna. Urza said. Naruto sighed. I guess I really don't have a choice, do I? Urza turned over and looked in curiosity at him. What are you planning to do? Urza asked. She got no answer, Naruto was already shutting his eyes closed, forming a tiger sign before reopening his transformed sharingan eyes. Urza widened her eyes in awe. Whoa, what just happened to your eye, she stuttered. Naruto looked at Urza, feeling the piercing gaze of the sharingan and the intense power she could feel from it. I explain later, right? Not, let's go and find another boatman. We will try one more time, if it doesn't work, I have a plan that might work. Naruto said. Urza was hesitant, but she agreed and nodded her head. Naruto and Urza set off again to find another boatman. The two stopped. Urza nudged Naruto, getting his attention and pointed over to a boatman she caught sight of. "Let's try that one," she said. Naruto nodded. Urza walked ahead while Naruto followed fairly close behind. "Excuse me sir, but could you take us to Galuna Island please?" Urza asked politely. And like the others, this boatman gave the two a look of confusion. "You want to go to Galuna? Sure, go ahead, but I'm not taking you there." "No way," he said firmly. Urza sighed and turned over to look at Naruto, and he nodded. Naruto strolled over to Urza slowly and looked at the boatman straight in the eye with his sharingan, striking some fear into the boatman. As Naruto gazed even more deeply into the boatman's eyes, the boatman slowly began to faint, he nearly fell over his boat and was nearly about to topple into the water. But Naruto flashed by onto the boat, catching him sufficiently. Urza looked astonished. Naruto then lifted the now unconscious boatman and threw him gently over his shoulder. Naruto then hopped back onto the deck and walked over to a shop. Urza followed close. "What did you do?" she asked. Naruto smiled at Urza as he deactivated his sharingan. "I'll explain later on the boat, but I've got to get this man to a safe place," Naruto said. Urza smiled and nodded. "We have to hurry," he added. Naruto rushed over to a simple shop selling foods and clothes. "Excuse me, this man fainted. Could you get him somewhere safe please?" he asked the owner of the store. At first the owner just looked at Naruto and Urza in suspicion and confusion, but nodded and took the boatman from Naruto's shoulders and brought the boatman into the shop. "I've got you covered," the owner said. Naruto and Urza sighed in relief. "Thank you so much," they both said and hurried out of the store. "So are we just gonna take the boat?" Urza asked. "Well, do we have any other choice?" Naruto asked. "I guess so," she said reluctantly. Urza stepped onto the boat followed by Naruto. Urza unhooked the boat and they two finally set sailed. "By the way, what did you do? Surely he was knocked unconscious, but how did you do it without even laying a finger on him?" Urza asked in curiosity. "I put him under a Jinjutsu, which is just like illusion world. It wasn't too powerful to knock him out for a whole week, but it is enough to keep him down for at least a day or two," Naruto answered. "Cool," Urza said. "I can't wait till you meet the others. They're gonna love you so much," Urza said. Naruto chuckled. "Now then, let's go and fetch these idiots," Urza said. Naruto nodded. "Snazzzycake 101 I am back. Yay. I am so sorry for leaving you guys like that. But fear not. I am back. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. I have so busy lately and I hope you guys'll understand. As you can see, there are many Naruto moments. The canon has already begun to settle in slowly. I hope you stay tuned for the next one." The sun had just set whenever Naruto and Urza finally acquired a boat. Naruto and Urza sailed through the water on their way to Galuna Island, both remained silent throughout. Naruto leaned back slightly and looked out into the open, his eyes filled with sadness. His hair blew gracefully in wind. Naruto looked out as he twirled a normal kunai in his hand. Urza noticed the deep sadness in Naruto's kind blue eyes that are no longer the sharingan. Urza wondered what had happened to him. She wanted to ask him what caused such sadness in those eyes. Because deep down, Urza wanted to see happiness in those eyes. But Urza feared that asking those questions may bring up unwanted memories that Naruto was trying to forget. "How are you doing that with the kunai?" Urza asked, deciding to break the silence as it was driving her crazy. Naruto snapped out of his daze and turned to look at the scarlet. "Honestly, I don't know either. It's just a habit that most ninja do," he answered. "I see," Urza said in awe. She looked at the blonde shinobi, she was so curious. Urza wanted to know more, she wanted to know if the myths are truly true. But Urza knew that Naruto didn't want to be bombarded with so many questions immediately. Out of curiosity, Urza took out her own kunai, which was the one she found and began twirling. Well, as she attempted to. "This is harder than it seems, I don't know how you guys do it." Urza chuckled as she continued to twirl the kunai. After a while, it started to bore Urza and so she stopped, but Naruto continued. "Urza right," Naruto called, unsure if that was her name. Urza smiled kindly and nodded, "Yep. That's my name. What do you need?" she asked. "Do you know how to get to this Galuna Island?" Naruto asked nervously. "Yes, of course," Urza assured firmly. Naruto then suddenly stopped twirling his kunai and sat up with alert, his face expression no longer a calm, but a more nervous one. Urza noticed and moved with him, she was anxious. "What's wrong Naruto?" she asked. "I sense something bad. Do you feel that uneasy presence?" Naruto said. Urza paused to think, but she did remember feeling something a little off that didn't fit with the calm night sea. She nodded. "Does this mean we're close?" Naruto asked. Probably, and I hope everything is okay over there. I have a bad hunch on this. Urza said in alert. Naruto nodded. If anything happens, will you help us? We might need it. Urza said. Naruto shrugged and smirked. I guess. Urza smirked herself. Thank you. Throughout the rest of the journey, Naruto and Urza conversed about all sorts of things. Until they finally arrived at the island and they were sure it's Galuna Island. For one, when the two got off, they immediately saw the unrealistic eerie purple glowing moon. Something is already wrong. Naruto said uneasily. Urza nodded with her eyebrows furrowed. Well then, we better get going. Right. Naruto replied, and the two warriors set off in the direction where a certain busty blonde was. Naruto ran in an incredibly fast pace. To him, it was pretty normal, since most ninjas ran faster than a normal human being. Urza had to run faster than she usually did to even keep up at his heels. Eventually, the two began hearing faint sounds of a raging battle and the terrified screams of which seems to be a young girl. Urza immediately looked at Naruto. Hey Naruto, do you hear that? I hear voices and a battle going on. She asked. In response, Naruto nodded. I hear two voices, do you recognize any of them? Naruto asked. Urza listened in more carefully as she ran. One sounds like Lucy from our team, but the other I don't know. Urza said. And I'm guessing it's okay to assume that the other voice is Lucy's opponent. Naruto theorized. Urza nodded. Naruto and Urza were still suspicious of the eerie purple glowing moon. I wonder what happened to the moon. Urza wondered in concern. Naruto shook his head, not sure. Meanwhile, the atmosphere was filled with the terrified screams of a young bust blonde named Lucy as she frantically ran and did her best to avoid what looks like a monstrous rock creature's deadly swings. Her face covered in sweat and her expression a panicked look. Don't let her get away, rock doll. Let's teach that foolish girl a lesson. Another young-looking lady named Sherry with pinkish hair pulled into two pigtails commanded her rock doll as it moaned and groaned. Lucy had an irritated expression. Who are you calling a little girl? We're the same age, I might even be a little older. She shouted as she continued to run frantically, her breaths were heavy. It's not a good idea to keep babbling like that unless you want us to catch you. Sherry taunted. Lucy took out her golden celestial keys, frantically deciding which spirit would be a most help to her in this situation. But it turns out none of them works. You'd better hurry. If you don't start moving faster we're gonna catch up with you. Sherry went on. Lucy continued to ungracefully dodge the rock doll's attacks. She continued until she realized the rock doll's foot just above her head, ready to squash her like a pancake. Lucy looked in horror and screamed in terror. I command you to crush her flat. Sherry commanded. The rock doll roared as its foot came crashing down, barely missing the blondie, cornering her as she landed at the edge of the cliff. The edge of the cliff soon began cracking much to Lucy's terror as it became completely detached from the cliff and down Lucy went. A huge explosion occurred as dust particles flew everywhere. Once it dispersed, Lucy laid on the sand in a daze. Naruto and Urza were slightly startled by the loud noise as they became nervous. You heard that right? Urza asked. No doubt, and it came from the area your friend is battling in. Naruto confirmed. Urza's face held frustration and worry. In the meantime she is worried for Lucy, but she is frustrated that Lucy took the job along with Natsu, Gray and Happy. Naruto noticed Urza's growing worry and frustration. Come on, let's hurry so we can help your friends. Naruto said, trying to snap Urza out of her phase. And it worked, Urza's eyes came back to life and nodded firmly. Open. Gate of the water barrier. Aquarius. Lucy chanted as she held the key in her hands. She stuck the key into the water and gestured in a similar motion to when a person is unlocking a door with a key. Out came a beautiful mermaid with long blue silky hair with matching blue bra and tail and darker blue choker. She also has two golden wristbands pushed up almost to her shoulder and carried her urn. Aquarius, how does a weakling like you have a spirit with that kind of power? Sherry shouted in a confused, demanding way. Lucy pointed to Sherry, that girl is our enemy. You hate her kind, so go get her. Lucy commanded. TCH. Aquarius let out an annoyed tone, immediately infuriating Lucy. I don't have time for your bad attitude, get over there and take her down now. She demanded as she shook her hands frantically. I see you're just as annoying as ever, no wonder you still don't have a boyfriend. Aquarius said, emphasizing the you. This only made Lucy even more angry. Geez, why do you have to rub it in like that? Marionette attack. Sherry chanted, taking advantages of this unintentional chance to attack. She held both her hands out and two pink magic circles appeared. Aquarius's eyes glowed a purplish color. What? She said in confusion. Sherry chuckled evilly, she's under my spell so she won't do your bidding anymore. Lucy looked on nervously. Might as well send her back. Sherry taunted. But Lucy will not give up. No way. Aquarius is still my ace in the hole. Lucy said, faithful in her spirit. I bet you won't still think that when the sea washes away your pitiful existence. Now Aquarius, get rid of this stupid girl once and for all. Sherry commanded. What? The mermaid hollered in even more confusion. Aquarius raised her urn, and a massive flood of water burst out of the small urn, creating a massive wave heading for Lucy as she whimpered. However, it didn't just wash Lucy along, just as Sherry was cackling in humor, it carried her away along with the blonde as both girls screamed in terror. Aquarius stood aside from the commotion in a safe distance, allowing the wave to finish off the girls. And I thought the blonde girl was stupid, I can close my own gate thank you very much, bye-bye. Aquarius smirked as she vanished into thin air. Whenever the wave finally died away, it definitely left the two in a real daze. Lucy struggled to get from her stomach, her hand gripping the sand for firmness. She finally stood up, but she was still lounging around, wobbling on her legs. Leave it to Aquarius to throw her waves against friend and foe alike, Lucy said with a shaky voice. Sherry also finally got up to her feet, but she was also wobbling like Lucy. I hate myself for allowing you to trick me again, but it doesn't matter because she wasn't strong enough to defeat my rock doll. Sherry whimpered. The two bumped into each other as they wobbled, and when they did, they faced each other ferociously. The two went into a brawl, throwing and thrashing their arms about as they argued on and on and on. Until their little fight was finally ended when Lucy's had enough and decided to swing her arm at her enemy, successfully defeating Sherry. No. How did this happen to me? I never lose. Sherry whined in defeat. Oh yeah? Well you just did, to a wizard from fairy tale. Lucy shouted triumphantly. Sherry's rock doll shattered along with its owner's defeat. Although the flame of my life has been extinguished far too soon, my love for you will blaze on forever, cold emperor. Sherry said. You're not gonna die, so let's tone down the drama, Kay. Lucy replied. Angelica, avenge your master's death. Sherry added weakly, the life in her eyes gone. Lucy widened her eyes in alert. A giant blue rat flew in, flat on its tummy ready to crush Lucy as she turned around in panic. But I thought that rat was one of her puppets. Lucy screamed, she tried to run before tripping over. Angelica narrowed in. I can't move my legs for some reason. Lucy panicked. As the rat closed in, Lucy gave another desperate scream. Damn it, make it. Just when Lucy thought she was about to be helplessly crushed by a big rat, she felt herself levitate off the ground. She felt two gentle strong firm arms wrap around her waist as someone strong carried her off the ground and into safety. Lucy looked up at her savior, she saw sun-kissed blonde spiky hair, whiskers on this man's cheeks, and kind sky blue eyes look down at her worryingly. Lucy felt her face blush. Wow, who is he? Lucy wondered. SNAZZYCAKE 101 woo. Hey there guys. Long time no see. Ha. Left you on another cliffhanger didn't I? I know, long time. But as promised, here is CH4. Hope you enjoyed. I will do my best to get CH5 out ASAP. Thank you for your patience. I hope it was worth the wait. Sorry if it's a little short. As she was being carried, she stared into the deep ocean blue eyes of her mysterious savior. Eyes so deep, Lucy thought she would have gotten lost if she kept on looking deeper and deeper into those eyes. As the mysterious man landed on the ground and gently placed Lucy back on the ground, the first thing she saw was the bright sun-kissed blonde, wild, unruly spiky hair. Lucy looked up and saw what was the most friendliest and strangely familiar face ever. Beautiful blue eyes, yet so sad. Finally, Lucy mustered up the courage to mutter a small hello. The young man gave Lucy a kind smile. Are you okay, miss? I hope you aren't injured. He said. Oh, don't worry. I'm fine thanks to you. Lucy replied. He has blonde hair like me. Lucy noticed. But the danger hasn't passed. Angelica, realizing she has missed her target, leaps back up into the air in another attempt to crush her now two targets. The man immediately stepped in front of Lucy protectively, ready to leap into action. Lucy yelped in fear. But a metallic swipe across Angelica's body and the famous scarlet-head wizard's Urza directly behind saved the man some trouble. And Urza did not look so very happy at all. Lucy peeked over the man's tall broad shoulders to see Angelica lying in defeat, and she sighed in relief. Lucy looked over and saw Urza, cheerfully waving at her. Hey Urza. She ran over from the man. But once Urza turns over, looking at Lucy with a frightening death glare, Lucy's relief quickly turned to panic. Realizing that Urza must be here for one certain reason. Oh right. She's mad at us because we broke guild rules and took an S-class request without permission, Lucy finally realized. The young man behind Lucy noticed the tension the situation was going to create and immediately rushed over in between the two young ladies, facing Urza. Step aside. Urza said firmly. He gestured politely, now. This young lady just went through something traumatizing, let's not be too harsh on her. Let me handle this. He said, his voice held politeness but also firm as Urza's. Urza sighed and turned away from the man, crossing her arms across her chest angrily. The young man breathed a breath and turned over to the blondie that he saved. Lucy never noticed it, but she can definitely feel it now. The aura this guy was letting out. The kind of aura that lets you know when someone is extremely powerful. Now then, I don't think we've introduced ourselves yet. What's your name, miss? He asked. You are Lucy? Lucy Hertfilia. Lucy answered. The man in return smiled. Nice to meet you, Lucy, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. Lucy paused in disbelief in what she just heard. Come again? Lucy said. Naruto gave a light chuckle. I said. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said. The Naruto Uzumaki, Lucy said, raising her voice a bit. Yup. Naruto nodded, popping the P in the end. And again, he is exactly what Master Makarov described him as. Sun-kissed blonde hair, deep blue eyes and 3 whiskers on each side of his face. Lucy's train of thoughts were interrupted by Urza's angry outburst. Back to the point. Lucy jumped a bit, startled from Urza's unhappy voice. Now, I'm sure you have a million questions flying through your head about all of this. I will give you all of the answers when I'm ready. But what's more important right now is, do you know why Urza and I are here right now? Naruto asked. Lucy sighed. Yes. To take us back, right? Naruto nodded. Lucy clasped her hands together nervously. Just promise you won't hurt me. Of course. Naruto assured, giving Lucy a reassuring smile. Before looking over her shoulders to see a very suspicious man hiding on top of the cliff with concern. Lucy seemed to notice. What's wrong? What were you looking at? Lucy turned around to see what her fellow blonde was looking at so seriously, but found nothing was there. Nothing to worry about, I think you have bigger problems right now. Naruto reminded. Happy fluttered over. Hey Lucy. I've been all over for you. I'm glad you're okay. I was. Happy immediately silenced whenever he saw a very familiar redeed and rushed out, flapping his wings as fast as he could. But at this point, nothing could escape from Urza. Not when she was this angry. Happy soon found himself hanging upside down by his tail that was held by Urza. Happy was shaking in utter fear, he was so scared that he hasn't noticed the other figure standing behind the kneeling Lucy. The last thing he wanted was an angry Urza. Naruto could not believe his eyes. He's seen water dragons, tailed beasts, giant frogs, giant snakes, giant slugs. But nowhere in the elemental nations has he seen a blue cat with wings that could actually fly. It wasn't until then did Happy start to see another man standing behind Lucy. Hey, who is he? He looks like shut up, Urza shouted, and Happy obeyed immediately. Now, where is Natsu? Urza asked, her voice and expression emotionless. Naruto watched nervously. Listen, I'm sorry for coming without permission, but some really awful things have been happening on this island. There's this guy and his minions who were trying to revive a frozen demon. And the island's villagers are suffering because of the magic spell it's using. They've turned into monsters. We just thought that if we work together we might be able to help them. Lucy explained anxiously. Naruto looked at Lucy sympathetically, he wanted to help. Naruto knew exactly what the right is to do, but he didn't want to take sides either. Both sides have good reason in the actions. None of that is my concern. Urza replied coldly. Lucy looked at Urza in despair. Please Urza, let us finish this job. We can't leave things this way. Lucy begged and in return got a sword to her throat. In which Naruto's immediate response was to rush to Lucy's side, stepping bravely in front of her, taking the sword to the throat for her. Naruto. Step aside. Urza ordered. Happy gaped. Naruto. Shut up, Happy. Urza snapped. Now step aside, Naruto. Urza ordered once again. Listen Urza, I'm not trying to take sides. I think Lucy and her team's action are wrong too, but I think we should hear her out first. Maybe she has a point, let's give her a chance. We don't even have to let them finish it, if you want the two of us can finish it. But let's not take things too far. And I promise you I'm not trying to take sides. Please Urza. Naruto begged. Urza gave Naruto a hard look before finally lowering her sword. Fine. Urza said reluctantly and walked off. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. Lucy and Happy couldn't believe it, this was the first time Lucy's ever seen anyone stand up to Urza. Thank you so much Naruto. Lucy thanked. No problem, by the way, what's the cat's name? Naruto asked. Happy. Lucy answered. Ah. Gray laid in bed, his eyes fluttered open. He sat up, looking around and observing his surroundings. Where am I? He wondered. Walking out of the tent he found himself in and looking to bright blue sky. Oh thank goodness I'm glad you're awake. A young woman with short ear-length ears said in relief. What is this place? Gray asked. It's a storage area that's not too far from the village. Everything was destroyed last night, so we decided to come here for shelter. She explained. The whole village? That's horrible. Gray blurted before remembering what Lion said. Then destroy the village, Lion ordered. It's a shame there has to be bloodshed. Gray looked in disbelief and dismay. I can't believe it, he actually went and did it, he thought before wincing over in pain, gripping his wounds. You know, it was a miracle that Natsu and Lucy were here, thanks to their bravery, everybody was able to make it out alive. She explained in gratitude. So are they still around here somewhere? Gray asked. Yes, they actually wanted me to show you their tent once you've finally woken up. The young woman answered. Which tent? Gray asked. They're waiting in that big one right over there. She replied, pointing over to a huge tent. Gray stepped in, only to find a furious Urza sitting down like a tyrant on a throne, beside her was a familiar figure, and Lucy and Happy bound and on their knees, bawling their eyes out in fear. You made me wait, not smart. Urza muttered venomously. Naruto saw Gray and his severe wounds. His wounds look bad, I should probably heal him up, Naruto thought. Urza? Gray shouted. Why are they tied up? And who is the blondie? Gray asked. Naruto stepped up in front of Urza and walked over to Gray, who looked at Naruto like he already knew who this mysterious young man was. The name is Naruto Uzumaki, so I'm guessing you're Gray Fullbuster. Nice to meet ya. Naruto introduced himself. Gray widened his eyes and looked over to his other friends. Did he just say Naruto Uzumaki? Gray asked. Lucy and Happy nodded, still bawling. Nice to meet you too. Gray replied, still in disbelief. Naruto took a look at Gray's injuries. Your wounds look pretty bad. Naruto said. Yes, so Gray replied. Mind if I heal them up for you? Naruto asked. Gray stood there, still in shock and disbelief. I cannot believe this, you're Naruto Uzumaki. The Naruto Uzumaki. But Gray paused. Naruto chuckled, long story, but now is not the time to tell it. It's okay, you can trust me, Naruto assured. Gray looked over to Happy, Lucy and Urza. Just go with it, I'm not in the mood to deal with your crap. He's healing you up and we're getting right down to business. Urza uttered. Gray gulped in fear. Okay. He looked over to the legendary figure that is somehow standing in front of him. Naruto held up his right hand and Gray saw a sun tattoo in his palm. Naruto reached over and gently placed his right palm on Gray's wounds. Gray stood still and anxious. Until he started feeling his wounds sealing up. Even Urza was watching intently. Lucy and Happy were stunned. Once Naruto took his palm away, Gray felt like his body has just been made anew. Well, how do you feel? Naruto asked. Gray backed away, moving his limbs around, moving about. He felt no pain, not the pain he felt earlier. I feel great. Gray replied gratefully. Alright. Urza shouted. Catching the attention of Naruto and Gray, causing Gray to settle down more seriously. Now that you're healed up. Let's get down to business. Urza said in a frightening tone. Naruto backed off and Gray had chills going up and down his nerves. So Lucy's got us up to speed with everything that's happened. I thought you were sent here to stop Natsu and these fools. If you guys had stayed, you would have met Naruto in a more light-hearted way. Well, needless to say I'm disappointed. Urza said, her voice still emotionless. Gray sighed, where is Natsu anyway? That's something we'd all like to know. Urza replied. The last time I saw him he was fighting the Cold Emperor's lackeys. But when we went back to where the village was there wasn't any sign of him, wherever he is I hope he's okay. Anyway, since we couldn't find him, Urza demanded that we take her to you, but I had no idea where you ended up. Lucy began explaining. So I did some scouting from the air and from up there I could see the villagers had moved to the storage area. Happy finished. Urza walked by Naruto and Gray. Okay, we're going to search for Natsu and then we're going back to the guild. Urza said firmly. Naruto's expressions showed that he is conflicted with Urza's idea. And so is Gray. But we can't leave the island just yet. If Lucy filled you in then you know exactly what the villagers are going through right now. Gray protested. Urza stared at Gray harshly. And what would be your point? Gray looked in shock, he could not believe the words coming from Urza's mouth. Naruto stood back, staying out of the conversation, but listening intently. Not interfering just yet. Natsu yawned tiredly. Man. I finally come up with the perfect plan and then I go and oversleep. Natsu stopped at the doorway of the temple. He looked up and grinned. Gripped his fist and held it into the air with pride. Alright. Let's do this. I came here solely to apprehend these fools for breaking the rules of the guild. I'm not interested in anything other than that. Urza affirmed. Rules? Have you even seen what's happened to the people on this island? Gray asked, beginning to raise his voice. I have. Urza replied ever so calmly. Then why are you still just gonna turn your back on them? Gray asked in dismay. Their request is posted on every guild hall. The villagers are off with wizards who are cleared for S-class. You're not qualified. Urza inquired coldly. How can you be so heartless? Gray blurted. causing Urza to look back at Gray with a deadly expression. What did you say? That's no way to speak to the great Urza. Happy panicked. All while Naruto continued to listen on. You suck up. Lucy uttered. Have you chosen to defy the guild's rules as well? Urza asked, summoning a sword to her hand. This immediately triggers Naruto to react. He repeated his actions with Lucy. He immediately stepped in front of Gray, surprising him. Naruto. Gray muttered. Naruto. Step aside. He is going to face the same punishment. Urza commanded. Listen Urza, I have been listening to this conflicting conversation. I agree with both of you. Like I said, I am not taking sides here, but when comes to the safety of a village and the people in it, rules are of no matter anymore. This is my suggestion, why don't we help them finish this job? We will go back to the guild and let their fates be decided by Master Makarov. And, since they have already taken this job they might as well finish it. It would be even more shameful for them to ditch it. Naruto said. Naruto, but Gray paused. Come on Urza please Naruto pleaded. Urza glared at Naruto and lowered her sword. Gray stepped away from the Naruto and placed a hand on his shoulder. Thanks Naruto. Gray thanked in gratitude and began to walk away. Just before he stepped out he looked back. You truly are a legend listen Urza, I'm seeing this through the end and you can't stop me. Gray stated confidently. Naruto smiled at him as Gray walked off. Urza turned her glare over to Lucy and Happy. Please don't get mad at us we don't have any control over Gray or Naruto. Lucy shrieked. He's not feeling like himself because he lost a fight to his old friend. Happy added. Naruto looked up in surprise. Old friend huh? Urza took her sword and cut open the ropes that bind Happy and Lucy, setting them free. These events are intolerable, we'll deal with the immediate problems for now. Urza said. Thank you. The two replied happily. Naruto smiled. Urza immediately glared at them. This doesn't change anything, you're still gonna face punishment. And plus, you want someone to thank Naruto. Saved you guys ass. Urza snapped. Yes, ma'am. The two sighed. Naruto sighed along. How pathetic, you're the only one still standing Toby. Those fairy tale wizards, they're quite impressive. Lion admitted. It immediately reminded Toby of the embarrassing moment when he shocked himself. Hey can we keep the whole shocking myself thing a secret? Toby asked. This unfortunate turn of events could put Deliora's resurrection in jeopardy. A short man wearing a mask said, walking in. The guy Naruto saw before. Zalti, you're stealthy as ever. Lion praised. If all goes to plan the demon should awaken at some point tonight, but we have to keep an eye on those wizards. If they were to interrupt the moon drip ceremony, then Deliora would forever remain entombed in ice. Salamander and Titania are quite powerful, and it seems like they've got a new ally, he even noticed me spying on them earlier. He has a very uncanny resemblance to the legendary Naruto Uzumaki. But I'm not sure if it's really him, I mean he's been dead for quite a long time now. They could easily fool our plans. Zalti informed. Naruto Uzumaki you know I would have loved to fight him in battle. He is very powerful. But like always you seem remarkably well informed. No matter, I can't say I'm worried. Those fools may be strong, but they're no match for me. And if it does turn out to be Naruto Uzumaki, I'll be sure to kill him too. Lion assured. I was hoping you would say that, it is very reassuring to hear. But still, allow me the honor of joining the battle for old time's sake. Zalti insisted. Wait hold on. I didn't know you were a wizard too. Toby said in shock. Yes. It's been a while since I used it, but I've dabbled in a particular form of lost magic. Zalti informed. Sure, we could use another wizard. Lion said before the whole entire temple began shaking violently. It's an earthquake. Toby shouted as the temple continued to shake. I don't think so. Lion disagreed. It's all coming down. Toby shouted. Turns out it's our favorite pink-haired fire dragon slayer tearing down at the moon temple. Natsu continued until the whole entire temple became crooked. Natsu then shot a hole through the ceiling with a fiery breath. What is the meaning of this? Lion demanded. We're in trouble. Toby replied shakily. Zalti smirked, looking down below. I should have known Salamander is the first to make a move. It appears we have a visitor sir. Zalti said as Lion looked down along. You know I usually end up breaking stuff by accident, it's kind of funny how hard it is when I do it on purpose. Natsu laughed. Lion glared angrily. What are you doing here? I'm knocking this place over. Then you won't be able to shine light on the demon below. Natsu explained himself. Insolent fool. Just who do you think you are? You dare challenge me? Lion growled. Okay can someone start explaining? I am lost. Toby said in confusion. Evidently this boy is the reason the temple is now titled, I assume he destroyed the support pillars on one side. Doing so causes the temple to shift in that direction. This in turn prevents any moonlight from directly shining on Deliora. It's an ingenious plan, I'm actually surprised he managed to come up with this. Zalti explained in amazement. So are you gonna fight me or what? Natsu demanded, shooting flames from his feet elevating him. He can shoot flames from his feet. Lion blurted. Yeah. Fire comes out from everywhere on his body. Toby said. Natsu charged head-on and violently headbutts Lion painfully in the stomach, shocking Toby and Zalti. Although seemingly defeated just like that, Lion cracked and shattered into pieces, causing confusion in the Dragon Slayer. What? He's fake. Ice make. Eagle. You can't dodge them in the air. Lion shouted pridefully, summoning ice eagles to charge at Natsu. However, solution is quite simple for Natsu as he shoots fire from his mouth, effectively burning the eagles. What kind of ridiculous magic is this? Lion shouted in disbelief. Fire dragon roar. Natsu shouted, fire shooting from his mouth. However, all of a sudden, the floor cracked, breaking and sending Natsu miles below. Very fortunate, Cold Emperor, luck is on your side. Zalti smirked. Could we keep the whole Toby Gotchard a secret too? Toby, no, in ashes asked. What did you do? Lion asked. Whatever do you mean? Zalti asked right back. Don't play dumb with me, your magic had to have caused that hole in the floor. Lion snapped. Don't you have ever the watchful eye? Please allow me to explain my action, sir. You're the only one strong enough to defeat Deliora, so it's imperative that you remain safe until its resurrection. Zalti chuckled. Lion glared, an icy aura forming around him. Are you suggesting that I could fall victim to such measly flames? His ice reached the floor and the wall. Leave me, I can take care of this myself. Once I finally defeat the demon, everyone will worship my name. Cold Emperor Lion, even more praised and well known as the great and legendary Naruto Uzumaki. Too hard to let a brat like him tarnish it. Lion said coldly. As you wish. Zalti smirked. Natsu scoffed, please, Naruto Uzumaki defeated a goddess, you will only defeat a mere demon. So this is your motive, defeating Deliora? Are you kidding me? Defeating Deliora is his goal, Lucy said in shock. Naruto furrowed his brows as they ran. The thing looks half dead already. So let me get this straight, you're through all this trouble to melt that ice just so you could fight it? Listen, I really want to fight Naruto Uzumaki, but I wouldn't go through that much just to fight him. So that's pretty messed up if you ask me. Natsu insulted. I must rise above Ur's legacy, I will not rest until I fulfill my dream. Lion vowed, sending more ice at Natsu, who dodged them effortlessly. Why go through all this trouble? Can't you just challenge her and be done with it? Natsu wondered. Well, I would if I could, but has been dead for years. Lion informed. Natsu widened his eyes, remembering what Gray told him earlier. The woman who taught me how to use my magic, my master sacrificed everything to seal it away. I didn't realize she ended up dying when she sealed it. Natsu realized. Yes, but she'd still be alive if it wasn't for Gray. Lion shouted angrily, shooting a violent piece of ice at the ice block behind Natsu. It bounced off and struck Natsu. But he came out unscathed. Look, I don't know what happened to you in the past, but I do know what you're doing in the present, and it's hurting a lot of innocent people. And since you don't seem to realize that yourself, I'll have to knock some sense into you. Natsu finally said. Even back when we were kids, Lion's always dreamed of surpassing Ur's magic abilities. Since she's gone, he can't challenge her directly. He's decided that it's up to him to kill Deliora. Cause it's the one thing she couldn't do. Gray explained. Listening to this gave Naruto nostalgia. Talking about masters reminded him of his own mentors, Kakashi-sensei, Pervy-sage, Iruka-sensei, Asuma-sensei. Naruto himself has already surpassed Kakashi and Pervy-sage. Well, yeah, guess that'd be the only way to challenge someone who is already dead. Lucy pointed out. Happy added. Listen, there's something I never got to tell him. I kept it secret, made me promise to never let him know, but I have to. May not be with us, but she's still alive. Gray revealed. Everyone gasped. SNAZZYCAKE 101 laughed sheepishly. Hey guys, another hiatus. Oh, you know, life and shit. But I was bored and I was free today, so I decided why the hell not. So, next chapter will be flashbacks. So be warned. Naruto makes more impact in this story than the other, I think. I think people like that more. I kinda just made him a side character on the last one. Again, so sorry for the absence. And yes. This chapter is longer. It will be long from now on. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Stay tuned for the next one. The truth is is still alive. Gray revealed. Naruto lifted a brow. What do you mean? Urza asked in confusion. Gray narrowed his eyes, brows furrowed. It's been 10 years, Gray began. Flashback. The raging demon roars ferociously, the town surrounding it up in flames and ruins. Deliora attacked my hometown. I've never seen such destruction. The whole place was wiped out in less than a day. Gray continued. The young woman strolled along the wrecked town along with another much younger boy with silver hair. I've heard of Deliaura's destructive power, but I never expected this, thought in horror. From afar, a young gray laid flat on his stomach crushed by a huge boulder. His arm twitched, his body barely moving. He groaned. Noticed and immediately called for the silver-haired boy. Lion. Get over here, we've got a survivor. Lion jumped and turned over and rushed over to Gray's side. Hey. Are you alright? Finally, Gray started to open his eyes. He looked up to see Lion and standing in front of him. And Lion found me, they pulled me from the rubble. Gray said. Gray knelt in front of what looks like to be a makeshift gravestone and placed a few flowers beneath it. He bowed his head down. Deliaura, you're gonna pay for this. I'll stop you, I swear. Gray said begrudgingly as looked on, her face intrigued. That vow was how it all began. Gray went on. Amidst a cold freezing snow mountain, Gray stood panting tiredly for breath while back was turned on him. Are you gonna be able to keep up, Gray? Asked, turning around to look at him. I warned you, training with me can be tough. Yeah. But I'll do whatever it takes. I have to become stronger than Deliaura. 'Cause someday, I'm gonna beat him. Gray vowed. Lion looked from afar and scoffed. Yeah right. Okay, let's get started. Said, shaking it off nonchalantly. Gray frowned. Fine, ready when you are. Before he jumped in shock after he saw his teacher literally strip and take her clothes off in the middle of the snow. Whoa. What are you doing? Gray demanded. The first step is to strip. Replied ever so calmly. Are you kidding me? You're crazy if you think I'm stripping in the snow. Back me up, Lion. Gray said hopefully. But only to find he has stripped too. Lion gave Gray a playful wink. Now you're naked too, Gray shouted in disbelief. Just hurry up and do it, kid, come on, you wanna learn magic right? Lion teased. I can't believe you're making me do this, it better not be some kind of joke. Gray whined. Winked. Attaboy, Gray, if you wanna be able to control the cold then you'll have to become one with it. You'll get used to it soon. Gray and Lion stood, shivering violently. I already have. Lion stated confidently. You're shivering just as much as I am. Gray pointed out. Let's go, boys. Commanded. I thought you were gonna teach me magic. Gray protested. Just run. Lion shouted as the three began running. I don't want to do this beginner stuff either. Lion complained. And so, Gray trained in nothing but the cold and even bathed in the cold. I practice maker magic. Out of all the magical arts, I feel this one gives you the most creative freedom. Told as she preformed the steps while Gray imitated as Lion watched from afar. Lion preformed his own by making his own ice gorilla. Which in turn got him a whack in the head by In fact, every wizard who practices maker magic has their own unique style. If you train hard, then someday you'll create a style all your own. Said. Who's the dark-haired boy? A lady asked. You pick up another student. Yeah, his name's Gray. He's a rebel and doesn't want to do what he's told. Answered as she sat at the bar chomping on an apple. The other boy is named Lion, right? I bet when those two grow up, they're gonna be quite the lookers. The lady teased. You think so? Replied curiously. Yeah. In fact, would you mind saving one of them for me? The lady asked. Scoffed, if you want those little headaches, you're welcome to them. You know, you're not gonna have much luck with the men in town if they think you've got kids. The lady inquired. I don't need romantic advice. Passed off. You're not getting any younger, and you deserve to be happy. Promise you'll give it a little thought. The lady begged. Looked back with her food, yeah sure. Tell me something, how long do you think it's gonna take us to become stronger than Lion asked cheerfully. How the heck should I know? Gray replied grumpily. She's the best wizard around, but my dream is to someday be better than she is. Lion dreamed. And stop running your mouth, can ya? Do you really think I care about that? Gray replied again in a grumpy tone. Why are you always so grumpy? Lion asked. 'Cause you're all master this, master that. It's bugging me. Gray replied. She told me she decided to teach you 'cause she sees some kind of darkness inside of you. Lion said. Well, she's probably right, especially after everything I've been through. Gray admitted. Well, she wants to help you get rid of it. Lion smiled. I'll do that on my own. Just watch, right now all I care about is getting revenge on Deliaura. And once I've learned enough magic I'm so outta here. Bye bye Ice Witch. Gray vowed. In return, got a fist into the head. Keep talking that way about me and you're dead meat to me, kid. Warned. I'm sorry. Gray apologized. The three walked in silence until Gray popped an A. So when are you gonna start teaching us some powerful magic? I already have. Replied. I'm not talking about that maker magic stuff. As far as I can tell that junk's completely useless. Gray said grimly. Causing her to stop in her tracks, she turned back and looked Gray with pitiful eyes. Gray sighed and turned away. But would not have it. Look me in the eyes. Gray. Demanded. Finally, Gray faced her. I told you, maker magic gives you creative freedom. Once you're able to create your own style, you can make it as powerful as you want. Told. You keep saying the same thing over and over again. Gray sighed, not knowing that he has taken his clothes off. Gray, we're in public. Put your clothes back on. Panicked. Gray's eyes popped out. Now I have this weird habit because of you. Don't you blame it on me. Punched Gray into the sky. While Lion and the townspeople laughed. Let's get out of here. Face was flushed as she carried Gray. Okay. Gray muttered. Well, that was embarrassing. Huffed. And hilarious. Lion laughed. Shut up, brown noser. Gray shot. You shut up, streaker. Lion shot back. Have you heard any news about Deliora's whereabouts? A man on the cart passing by the trio asked. Yeah, I heard it made its way to the northern continent. It's somewhere around Brago. Another man replied. This conversation caught Gray's attention. I hope they don't end up suffering the same fate as Isvan. The first man replied. Gray dropped his bag, causing and Lion to look back in surprise. What's wrong? Asked. That's where it is in Brago. Gray muttered. Amidst the stormy night, Gray walked off from cottage as and Lion looked on in disagreement. No way. Deliora is out of your league, Gray. It'll kill you. Don't go. Shouted in protest. Gray stopped. Beg all you want. You're not gonna change my mind. Don't you understand? That demon took my mom and dad away from me. I have to get revenge. Leave and you're no longer my student. Warned. Fine. I'm better off without you. Gray shot. Don't go. Lion muttered. And if that thing kills me, it'll be all your fault. You should have taught me real magic. Gray shouted. Great. Sighed. Flashback ends. Lucy deadpanned as she titled her head in the direction the temple was titled. Guys. Is it just me or does the temple look a little crooked right now? Lucy said. Naruto uttered. He furrowed his rose. So he's just like me, he doesn't have a mom or a dad. What happened to it? Happy wondered. I'm guessing Natsu. Gray immediately said. Me too. Urza agreed. Naruto raised his brows. Natsu. Wow, this guy seems pretty powerful and destructive. Ha. I don't know how he managed to pull it off, but he's the only one who would do something that crazy. It's a pretty great idea if he did on purpose. Since the temple is titled like that, the moonlight won't hit Deliora. Gray pointed. You mean his habit of destroying stuff actually came in useful for once? Lucy sounded surprised. Naruto laughed out loud. My head stuck. Looking sideways at the crooked temple hurt my neck. Happy chirped as he attempted to place his head back in place, but only ended up cracking it the other way. All of a sudden, Urza faced in a certain direction of the forest with a sharp eye, and Naruto jerked uneasily moving super speeds, sprinting over to Lucy and Happy. Watch out, guys. Naruto shouted as he took the took in his hands and dodged the incoming spikes thrown at the group with ease, along with Urza and Gray. Happy and Lucy yelped in shock. Naruto landed hard on his feet, still holding on to Lucy and Happy before finally releasing them. Are you two okay? Naruto asked. Yeah, thanks to you again. Lucy replied. Who's there? Urza demanded. We've tracked you down, Fairy Tail. A female voice coming from inside a monk shouted. We will not allow you to interfere. A male one came. Not these guys. Gray said in dismay. I'm guessing they're Lion's minions. Naruto blurted. They're all around us. Lucy panicked. Happy croaked. I can handle this myself. Urza assured, summoning a sword into her hand. Are you sure? Gray asked. I'll take care of them. You go and settle things with Lion. Naruto follow him. You've been cooped up in that forest for way too long. You need to start leaping into action. Urza commanded. Naruto and Gray paused and hesitated before looking at each other and nodding towards Urza. We'll stay here and fight with her. You just go and do what you gotta do. Lucy added. Happy chirped. Thanks you guys. Gray smirked and looked over to the legendary figure beside him. I never thought this would be happening, but I really look forward to working with you, Naruto Uzumaki. Gray smiled. And you? Naruto returned to the smile. I gotta tell Ian that is still alive. The only person that can stop him is me. Gray vowed. Do what you gotta do, buddy, I'll back you up. Naruto assured. Gray looked over to Naruto. He still couldn't believe it. He was running alongside Naruto Uzumaki. He wanted to see just how powerful he was. Couldn't defeat Deliora, Lion probably couldn't, and he knows he probably can't either. But with this legend on our side, Naruto may have the power to even kill Deliora. Flashback. Deliora roared furiously. looking down at whose clothes were torn and body covered in grim. Ice make. Rose garden. Shouted. A bed of icy roses burst from the ground, embodying Deliora before he broke free of it and shot a gust of flames across the town. Panted in exhaustiveness. I can't keep this up, I'm using too much magic power. Looked back at her two unconscious students. Gray groaned before shooting up in a panic. Trembling violently, as once again. The demon Deliora has trashed this town like before. Calmly walked over and took Gray into her arms comfortingly. It's okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Comforted. Gray pulled away, looking up at her with fearful eyes. You're here, but why? I want you to grab Lion and get out of here. I can't concentrate on fighting if I have to protect you. Stood up. Gray peeked over to see Lion's sleeping form. Oh no. He's fine. Just out cold. Assured. Gray ran over as turned back over to the demon, glaring it down with a sharp eye. Deliora. It's too strong. I didn't stand a chance. Gray shouted in shame. Get going. Told, walking off to battle the demon once again. Wait. Would you come after me? I thought I wasn't your student anymore. Gray shouted. Stopped. A friend said something to me recently that made me think. She told me I deserved to be happy. Which shocked me because I never thought of myself as unhappy. She just doesn't understand. I have two adorable little students that I spend each day with and watch them grow into men. What more could I want? I don't think there's anything in the world that could make me happier. Said. Gray stood speechless. Until he noticed ice leg. Your leg. Oh, you noticed. I lost the real one, but this'll do for now. My maker magic came in handy. I vowed I would free the darkness within you, and if that means I have to fight this demon, then so be it. Now get out of here and let me do this. Smiled. At this point, Gray was in tears. He couldn't stand it, he will not leave his precious master. No, I'm not leaving you. It's my fault that all of this happened. Gray protested. No one's at fault. This is just something we have to go through in order to be happy again. Said and began walking off. Wait, Lion whispered, stopping in her tracks and letting himself go from Gray. I thought you were unconscious, I want you and Gray to you're gonna defeat it, right? You're talking like you're not gonna make it. Lion interrupted. Let her go. Shut up. Lion snapped. You can beat that thing no problem. You're the strongest wizard alive, that demon's no match for you. Lion said confidentially. Turned around. Lion, how many times have I told you? There's always someone better. But that can't be true. Lion deluded. In the Western countries, there are lots of wizards who are more powerful than me. Told. No, it's not true. It's not. 'Cause you're the strongest. If you aren't, then why have I been training with you all this time? Lion questioned. One day you'll surpass me, and when that day comes I hope you'll move on to a more loftier goal. Said hopefully. I studied with you because I thought you were the strongest. If you let that monster defeat you then you'll prove me wrong. Don't betray me. Lion despaired. Lion. Shouted as Lion ran past her, heading towards the demon. If you're not gonna give it your all then I'll have to do it myself. Lion resolved. Gasped. Lion spread his legs apart, holding his arms out and crossing them. Forming an X. Lion, that stance. Where'd you learn that? Demanded. Where you ask? Since you didn't want to teach us powerful magic yourself, I went to the storehouse and read all your magic books. You hid spells like the iced shell cause you were scared. That's why, isn't? Lion shouted. Did you even bother to read that book all the way through? Do you know what happens to the spellcaster? Asked. Will he be okay? Gray asked nervously. I asked you a question. Answer me, Lion. Demanded. But Lion wouldn't hear it, he ignored her and continued on with the spell. Please, you can't do this. Gray pleaded. No. It noticed us. Panicked. I know magic's too weak to kill Deliora. But if I cast the iced shell spell I can seal it in ice for eternity. Lion smirked. However, before Lion could continue further on with the spell, encased him in her own ice. Sorry Lion, but I can't let you do that. Frowned. But why's it bad? Gray asked. When that spell is cast, the user's body becomes the iced shell itself. Explained. Gray's face held horror. He's right though, that's the only way Deliora can be stopped. I never imagined Lion would come up with the same idea I had. Said impressed. Hey wait. Where are you going? Gray shouted. The same aura around Lion formed around her. Hinting that she herself is about to cast the iced shell. I must have taught him well. Said proudly. Gray shouted. Stay back. Warned. Then got into the same stance Lion was in before. Magic circles formed around Deliora. I won't ever let you hurt my students ever again. This is the end of the line, you monster. Absolute freeze iced shell. Her exclaimed. Spreading her arms out as ice charged at Deliora. No. Gray shouted in terror. Her's body began turning itself into ice, starting with her right eye. Please don't do it. Gray pleaded. It's a sacrifice I have to make in order to save the two of you. My body will become the ice that will seal the demon Deliora. For eternity. Gray promised me this one thing. Please tell Lion I died. If he found out I turned to ice, he'd probably waste his entire life trying to undo the spell. And that would make my sacrifice meaningless. I want to see Lion live a full life. And Gray, I want the same for you. Her said. I'm begging you. Please don't do this. I promise I'll whatever you tell me to from now on. Gray begged tearfully. There's no reason to be sad. I will live on, please don't cry. I may not be with you, but I will protect you from Deliora. Be strong. Make me proud. Her stated proudly. You are. Gray shouted. I freed you from the darkness, Gray. I've sealed it away forever. Her said in pride. Suddenly, I felt all the sadness and anger within me just disappear. At that moment I swore that I would always be strong for her. I'd become the best wizard I could to make her proud of me. But Lion was different, Gray voiced over. Lion groaned, opening his eyes to the bright sun as he sat up. Ow, what did she do to me? Lion wondered. He saw the demon Deliora now encased in ice. That's Deliora. How did it happen? Did her cast the spell? Did she? Where is she now? Tell me. Lion demanded. Gray only sat on the ground, head buried in his knees, stifling in his sobs. She's dead. Gray uttered. Lion widened his eyes and raised his brows. No, Lion whispered in disbelief. No. Lion shouted, running over to Gray. Shoving him to the ground, grabbing his collar. Jerk. How will I surpass her now? She's dead and so is my dream cause of you. Lion blamed. I am sorry. Gray stuttered. That's not good enough. It won't bring her back. You killed my dream. If you hadn't challenged Deliora, this wouldn't have happened. Lion shouted, finally letting go of Gray. He stood up, glaring at Gray coldly. It's your fault she's dead. You're the one you killed, Master. Flashback ends. This could go on forever. So do yourself a favor and give up. Natsu shot. I would never give you that satisfaction. Lion refused. Then you're a skin for it. Natsu smirked, lighting his fist on fire. Oh, am I now? Lion taunted. The crack in the ice wall beside them began to crack until it finally broke. And with it came Gray and Naruto. Oh, it's Gray. And who's the blondie? Natsu asked. Gray looked over to Naruto. Hi there, the name is Naruto Uzumaki. So which one of you is Natsu? I'm guessing it's gotta be the pinky. Naruto smirked. Natsu blinked before his jaw hit the floor. Lion seemed to have the same reaction. Say Wyatt. Natsu blurted. Lion widened his eyes. But that's impossible. You died. You sacrificed your life in order to seal away Kagaya Otsutsuki. The great mother of all chakra. How are you alive? I don't believe it. You're a fake. Lion blurted. Oh, it's a long story and I don't really have the time to explain. Naruto said nonchalantly. Look, just let me handle this. It's time we settle things once and for all. Gray settled. Naruto stepped back. No way, man. You already lost to him once. Natsu protested as Gray got in front of Natsu. It's not gonna happen again. Plus, I feel better as ever. Naruto fixed me up. So I'm ready to end this now. Gray stated confidentially. Natsu raised a brow. Fixed you up? Naruto walked over to Natsu. I used my power to heal him up. Natsu was awed. You seem awfully confident. Lion said unfazed. You were right, Lion. I'm the one who's the blame for our master's death. But you're no better. You threatened my comrades, brought harm to the villagers, and now you're trying to destroy what gave her life to create. It's time we accept our punishment together. Gray said. Lion's eyes shot wide as Gray got ready in a stance of the iced shell. That stance. Not the iced shell. Lion panicked. Iced shell? Natsu said. My master cast a spell called iced shell on this demon. She gave everything to seal it away forever. I'd fight her if I could, but her's been dead for many years. Natsu recalled. Are you insane? You wouldn't dare. Lion shouted. If you want to live, change the villagers back to their human forms and then leave this island and never return. If you agree to that, I'll stop, otherwise this is the end. Gray warned as a magic circle formed beneath him. That's so? Well, I don't believe a word of it. You're bluffing. Lion denied. Gray narrowed his eyes, the same aura around her before formed around Gray. No, I'm not. Gray replied emptily. You'll die. Lion shouted, attempting to stop the casting with his magic, but in turn got sent flying from the aura. Don't do it. Natsu pleaded. All these years I've lied to myself. I didn't want to admit that died because of me. But she did. And it's time I took responsibility. So I will here and now. I'm not afraid to die if that's what it takes. Gray vowed. Stop this now. Lion demanded. What's it gonna be, Lion? Are we gonna die or are we gonna live? It's up to you. Gray shouted as his right eye cracked. You wouldn't. You aren't brave enough to give your life. You're nothing but a coward. Lion shot. Just watch. Gray demanded. Undo it. Natsu begged. Natsu, all my friends in fairy tale. The rest is up to you. I don't want to leave you, and Naruto, I really wanted to get to know you better. But my time is up. However, Naruto has had just about enough of this nonsense. Naruto walked off from Natsu's side and stood in between Lion and Gray. Natsu looked around. Naruto. Naruto closed his eyes, he bent down. Hands reaching for Gray and Lion's legs. Once he knows he's got a grip on both legs, he pulls them both up effortlessly with ridiculous strength, turning over to the bigger space and flinging them across the space like they were mere rag dolls. The two hit the walls with great force. Both of them groaned in pain as Naruto's throw were awfully strong and powerful. Naruto looked towards them with the kind of face that is done putting up with this nonsense. Alright you guys, playtime is over. SNAZZYCAKE 101, woo. No hiatus for the next chapter this time. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry about the flashback. I gave you a warning last chapter. And yes, Naruto pulled the Kakashi. Hope you liked that idea. Naruto is gonna kick us in the next few chapters. Hope you enjoyed this chapter, please stay tuned for the next one. Gray and Lion groaned as they slowly sat up against the ice wall. Man, Naruto, your throws are insane. You could have broken my back. Gray groaned. Naruto titled his head innocently. Really? I was barely using half of my strength though. Natsu, Lion and Gray widened their eyes. Not even half strength, so what would have happened if he had gone full power? I don't even want to imagine, Gray thought. Natsu immediately wanted to battle Naruto. Wow. Naruto turned over to Gray and Lion. Listen to me, whatever happened to your master was no one's fault. Your master gave her life to seal away this demon. She sacrificed her life so that you two could live a full and happy life. Living on as powerful wizards. And Gray, if you just throw your life away like that, then your master's sacrifice would have been for nothing. And Lion, this isn't the only for you to surpass her. If you want to surpass her, you should be training even harder, learning magic even her couldn't do. Not melting something that she gave her life to create. Naruto chided. Gray sighed. I guess you're right, Naruto. But Lion scoffed quietly. Nonsense. Yeah, and plus you can't just bust in and steal the scene with a bunch of fancy talk. Get back to the end of the line, pal. Natsu blurted. Back of what line? Gray asked. I was here first, so it's my fight. Natsu said pridefully, crossing his arms across his chest. What? When I got here the first words out of my mouth were leave him to me. Gray shot. Why you? Gray spat. What, you want some? Natsu smirked. Gray took hold of Natsu's scarf, glaring hard at him. I don't care who said what, I got a score to settle with him, do you understand, and I'm ready to die if that's what I gotta do. Gray snapped. Natsu in return took Gray's wrist, gripping it hard and tight. Huh, sounds you haven't been listening to what Naruto was saying earlier. How's dying gonna settle it? Cause it sounds like you're running away from me. Naruto stopped you for a reason, Gray. Natsu snapped back. All of a sudden, the temple began shaking again. But it definitely isn't Natsu's doing this time. Meanwhile, Urza, Lucy and Happy continued to strike down the monks with ease. Do not back down. We must strike down all of those who oppose the cold emperor. The female monk commanded and the rest of them cheered along with her. Everyone outside suddenly started to feel the whole temple began to shake violently. What's that sound? Urza wondered in concern. It can't be. Lucy shouted in panic, looking over to see the once crooked temple now back to normal. Whoa. The temple just untitled itself. Happy exclaimed. Naruto narrowed his eyes, observing his surroundings. He remembered entering the temple when it was tilted, the floor of the temple didn't seem to be leveled with the ground either. I believe the temple is back to normal now. That can't be too good. We all know what that means. Naruto inquired nervously. Yeah, it means the moon's gonna shine on Deliora. Gray noted while Natsu was jumping around the ground, angrily kicking and punching the floor. Zalti came dashing and nonchalantly through the hole in the wall. Sorry for the disturbance. Zalti apologized. Naruto raised an eyebrow, recalling to earlier when he caught this man spying on them at the cliff. Zalti, I should have known. I take it you did this? Lion assumed. Indeed I did, sir. The moon will be out soon, so I thought I would take the liberty of straightening out the temple for you. Zalti explained before pausing after he saw Naruto out of the corner of his eye. Zalti slowly turned over to see the legendary Naruto Uzumaki standing beside Natsu. No way, the sun-kissed hair, deep blue eyes, 3 whiskers on each cheek, but how can that be? You're supposed to be dead. Zalti stammered in shock. Gray and Natsu chuckled. Naruto just shrugged carelessly. Long story, you don't need to know. But seriously though, that weirdo fixed it all by himself, Gray was in awe. And after I went through all that trouble to mess it up too. Hey, so what did you do to fix it? Natsu demanded. Zalti then focused his attention over to Natsu and cackled. Tell me how you fixed it. Natsu demanded again. Now that everything else is in order, I suppose I should commence the moon drip ceremony. Zalti ignored Natsu. Hey. Natsu said irately. However, Naruto zipped out of his spot. Catching Natsu, Gray and Lion by surprise. Holy crap, he's fast. Natsu awed. Easily catching up with him with his ninja speed. Where do you think you're going? Naruto shouted. Zalti looked back in attempt to react, but Naruto was way too fast. Naruto charged straight ahead, violently headbutting painfully into Zalti's back. Causing him to shriek in pain, knocking him out cold easily. Naruto halted and reached over to grab Zalti by his clothes. Turning back over to Natsu, Gray and Lion. Who were gawking at him in utter amazement. One Natsu, let's not bother Gray in his battle with Lion. You and me are going to take care of the demon. Naruto said. Natsu nodded and headed over to Naruto. Wait, what are you planning on, Naruto? Gray asked. Naruto continued walking, ignoring Gray. Natsu, where is the demon located? Naruto asked. It's underground, beneath the temple. Natsu replied. Naruto nodded and began walking. On Natsu, let's leave Gray and Lion alone. Naruto gestured for Natsu to come along with him. Right. Natsu nodded. Gray growled. Naruto. Tell what your plan is. Don't tell me you plan on fighting the demon by yourself. Naruto sighed, shut up and you'll find out. Plus, you've got something more important to worry about right now. Let me and Natsu handle this, go on then. Settle things with Lion once and for all. Come on Gray for fairy tale. Natsu added, holding a fist up. Gray narrowed his eyes. Okay, you got it. And with that, Naruto and Natsu walked off with Naruto still carrying the unconscious Zalti. Naruto, he sure is a mysterious guy. Even more mysterious than Mystigan. He's very very powerful. And he's cool as heck, Gray thought. Wow, so Urza was right. It really is Naruto, Natsu thought, still in shock. On Natsu, I'll tell you my plan once we get there and I'll let you in on something. Naruto gestured as they started towards the demon. Right. Natsu replied. Well, Naruto Uzumaki in the flesh. And what a pair you and Natsu are. Lion taunted. Tell me something, a second ago when I was about to freeze us for good, you were either counting on Natsu or Naruto to stop me before I could finish, right? Gray questioned. No, the opposite in fact. I never thought Natsu would be foolish enough to come near a spell like that. Same with Naruto, just because I thought he thought this was none of his concern. Lion said. So you were just gonna stand there and take the hit? Gray asked. Exactly. Because someone would come to rescue me. You on the other hand would be finished for good. Lion explained. I should have known. Gray spat grimly. It certainly would be inconvenient to be sealed in ice, but my allies are as devoted to my cause as I am. And as long as we are on the island they could use the moon drip to melt the ice whenever they saw fit. Lion pointed out. Gray frowned. I didn't think of that, guess the iced shell was completely useless here. Even so, you still want to fight. After what happened last time. Don't fool yourself, you could never, that's enough. Gray interrupted. What? Lion gasped. Just forget about Deliora. Gray said. What kind of nonsense is this? Your threats don't work so you turn to begging, does your guild have a dentist that removes your fangs? Or are you just a coward? Lion taunted. Lion, there's something I have to tell you. Gray finally said. What is it? Lion spat. Is still alive. Gray revealed. Lion froze, his face looking pale. The iced shell doesn't kill its caster, it uses their body to form the barrier. The ice keeping Deliora sealed away, which you've been trying to melt, is actually Master. She isn't dead, she lives on as that ice. I'm sorry that I never told you the truth back then, made me promise to keep quiet. Gray apologized while Lion still stood frozen. If found out I've been turned to ice, he'd probably waste his entire life trying to undo the spell. Oh course. Lion finally muttered. It's over, there's no reason to go through with this anymore. Gray added. But only got an ice dagger through his back. Gray struggled, groaning in pain. Falling over onto his knees. You idiot. I know how the spell works. I can assure you she's not alive anymore. That's nothing more than a chunk of ice. Lion smirked malevolently. You knew all along. Gray uttered as he struggled to get back up from the ground. Knowing is one thing, believing is another. And if you truly believe is alive in there, you're an even greater fool than I thought. Lion insulted. Gray shot Lion in furious glare. You knew the truth. And you still did this. Gray growled as he finally got back up onto his feet. And what of it? Lion asked nonchalantly. Gray gripped his teeth before finally punching Lion square in the face, knocking him into the ice wall. Impossible. How can you move with that wound? Lion demanded. Well, surprise surprise. Naruto actually used his amazing power to heal me up. And I've had enough. I wanted to save you, but I give up now. Gray grumbled. You want title of star pupil for yourself? Well, I'm sorry, but I have to fight against Eliora soon and I rather not waste any of my energy on you. Lion insulted. Then we'll just use our fists. Gray held up his fist. You want me to fight you without using magic? That's fine by me. Lion smirked. Gray charged right ahead, seemingly already getting the upper hand on Lion. But was knocked out pretty quick when Lion struck him painfully in the stomach. Gray choked, falling over. Strike your opponents in the weak spot and hit it with all you got. Taught us that, remember, Lion snarled. Gray glared, you have no right to speak her name. And I won't let you. But Lion struck him again in the stomach with a painful kick. Gray let out a choked cry before again falling over. Once Natsu and Naruto reached the location of Eliora, Naruto hastily threw Zalti onto the ground. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he stood, observing the demon. Natsu approached him slowly and looked down at Zalti and back at Naruto. What should we do with him? Natsu asked. Naruto shrugged, don't worry about him, we've got more important things to deal with right now. Finally, Zalti began coming into reality. He looked around, realizing that he is underground with the demon Eliora, along with Naruto and Natsu. Damn you, Naruto Uzumaki. I can't believe you knocked me out with a single headbutt. Zalti spat. He certainly is very powerful, he's not called a legend for nothing. There's no way for you to stop it. Tonight, Eliora shall be revived. Zalti proclaimed. Naruto smirked, that's good. Just how I want it to be. Natsu and Zalti lifted their brows in confusion. Naruto, what do you mean? Natsu asked. Zalti grunted in frustration. What are you planning? You know, for some reason. You seem like a man, but you reek of ladies' perfume. Naruto pointed out playfully. Oh good, I'm not the only one who caught that. Natsu sighed in relief. Whatever do you mean? I am a man, and I don't wear ladies' perfume. Zalti denied. Damn him. How'd he sense it? Naruto, what's the plan? Natsu asked. You'll see. Lion continues to relentlessly beat Gray, throwing punches after and after. And all Gray could do was take it. What a shame, your fists are as weak as your magic. Lion shot. Gray then lunged after Lion, attempting to land a blow at Lion, but was struck into the wall real soon by Lion. Gray panted, huffing and puffing, and he smirked. What we're doing right now. Kind of reminds of someone else I used to spar with as a kid. Gray reminisced. This is the end. Lion cackled as the two charged at each other, with Lion again being the one to land a successful blow at Gray. That up. Natsu. Gray immediately thought of. Flashback. The young Natsu sat on the ground, exhausted and huffing for breath. A young Gray walked soon enough, in the same condition as Natsu. Come on, get up. Natsu shouted. You're the one that needs to get up, so you come on. Gray shot back. All while Makarov and a young Urza stood and watched in deadpan. Natsu and Gray charged at each other again. Gray eyed Natsu as he laid flat on his back, he turned around and started to walk off. Sorry, but I win. Gray proclaimed. But Natsu would not have it. Hold on. This fight's not near over, Gray. Gray looked in disbelief and finally smirked. Well, if that's the way you want it. And two once again came at each other. Flashback ends. In the same fashion, Gray sat on the ground and Lion standing triumphantly over him. But panting in exhaustion. Finally. That settles it, you're no match for me. Lion said, smirking and turning away from Gray. Hold on. This fight's not over just yet. Gray persisted. Lion sighed in frustration. I should have killed you when I had the chance. And once again, the two lunged at each other, preparing to strike each other down. Although Lion also landed a blow on Gray's cheek, Gray managed to send Lion flying into the— You're gonna have to step up your game if you want to beat me. Gray exclaimed angrily. Lion came back with just as much force as Gray, headbutting into him violently. I didn't give up against Natsu and I won't against you. Gray vowed, headbutting Lion in return. And the two continued to pummel each other like their life depended on it. I'm not gonna lose, you hear me, Gray vowed once again. I won't lose. You're going down. Gray stormed. You can never defeat me. Lion spat furiously. I remember looking at the sky that day. I don't know why, but it was so blue it made me angry, Gray voiced over. Finally, Gray delivered the final devastating kick to Lion, ultimately defeating him in a battle of fists. Notice anything strange, Lucy? Urza asked as she and Lucy stood back to back, facing the enemy monks. Yeah, even though there's a bunch of them, their magic seems weak for some reason. Lucy noted. Exactly, as far as I can tell there are only 5 wizards among them. Urza pointed out. "Oh man, guess I'm gonna have to go easy on them," Happy said. "Just keep telling yourself that," Lucy deadpanned. "Do you think you can handle this one?" Urza asked. Lucy smirked, taking out Cancer's golden gate key. "Oh you betcha. Open. Gate of the giant crab. Cancer," Lucy hollered. We've met before haven't we?" Urza wondered. Cancer knelt down before the redeed. "Indeed we have, and as always I'm at your service. Miss." Cancer gushed. "I thought you always said baby. What's with miss? And aren't you supposed to be at my service?" Lucy shouted in annoyance. "I think someone's jealous." Happy teased. "Take him down. But don't kill him, just rough him up, okay?" Lucy ordered. "Alright baby." Lion struggled for breath, clutching onto the ice wall that he's created for supported. His face held disgust. "The Cold Emperor. Defeated in battle by the likes of you. I won't stand for it. Naruto Uzumaki was supposed to take the honor." Lion choked. "If you were fighting Naruto, you would be on death's doorsteps. So get over here and fight," Gray demanded, eyeing him coldly. Lion grunted in anger. "Ice make. Snow dragon." The ice dragon sprang from the ground, wrapping itself around Gray, who easily broke free as he went crashing to the floor. "I thought we agreed not to use magic, Lion," Gray snarled. "Don't be such a sore loser. This duel was pointless, Deleora will revive either way. It's far too late to stop me now." Lion grinned menacingly. Gray gripped his fist, fumbling as he struggled to sit up. "I won't stop trying," Gray said stubbornly. "Try all you want, but Zalti should be preparing to start the moon drip ceremony as we speak. I'm pretty sure he's awake by now. But poor him, Naruto's brutal headbutt looks like it hurt very much." Lion taunted. "Not with Naruto and Natsu around. And the second you underestimate Natsu is the second you lose." Gray smirked, having full faith in his friend. "Naruto? What's your plan? Tell me," Natsu demanded, beginning to grow impatient. Naruto only stood still and silent, watching as the moonlight shined on Deleora. "Come on, any minute now." Zalti cackled. "He probably doesn't have a plan." Naruto growled. "Naruto. The moonlight is shining on the demon. Any minute now the ice will melt and Deleora will be free again." "That's great. Just what I wanted," Naruto replied calmly. Natsu clamped his teeth together, he's had enough. Natsu ran over to Naruto, grabbing him by the high collar of his long sage coat. "Naruto, this is no joke. Do you know what will happen when that demon is freed?" Natsu stormed furiously. "Yes. And I'll tell exactly what's gonna happen," Naruto said. "Oh yeah? What?" Natsu spat. "That demon is gonna die by my hands," Naruto finally revealed. Natsu and Zalti looked at the blondie in confusion. "What do you mean? Are you saying that you're gonna fight it and win?" Zalti asked in shock. Naruto looked at him nonchalantly and nodded. "Well yes." Natsu lifted a brow. "You talk as if it's gonna be a piece of cake. Gray's master couldn't even defeat it," Natsu shouted. "Yes, not even you Naruto Uzumaki can defeat a demon that powerful." Zalti smirked. Naruto grabbed Natsu's hand, which was still holding onto his sage collar, and pushed it off in annoyance and ruffled his precious coat back to place. Naruto finally looked back up to the Dragon Slayer with a serious stern face. "Natsu, you've gotta trust me on this. I know what's going on and I know what I'm doing. Trust me, back in the elemental nations there were creatures that would demolish this demon so brutally it wouldn't even know what hit it," Naruto assured, referencing to the 9-tailed beasts that are sealed up inside of him. Natsu continued eyeing Naruto, still quite not sure, but nodded reluctantly. All while Zalti listened and watched in curiosity. Naruto Uzumaki sure is one hell of a mystery. Just how the hell is he here is one big mystery, Zalti thought deeply. "Okay if you say so," Natsu said anxiously. The monks laid in ruins, groaning in pain after cancer gave them a beating. "Excellent work, let's head to the temple," Urza said. "Right," Lucy replied. "No wait." A firm old female voice came. Lucy turned around in surprise. "We won't let you interfere with the Cold Emperor," the female monk said stubbornly. "Those headpieces you people are from the city of Brago. And you want revenge." Urza finally realized. The female monk narrowed her eyes as she recalled to those horrifying moments when the demon Deleora raged among the city, tearing it apart. As Naruto continued to watch the moonlight drip onto the ice encasing Deleora, Natsu gazed at him in curiosity. Ever since Natsu has heard of the myths and the tales and legend, Natsu has always looked up to Naruto like a hero, idolized him in every way. Always eager to fight him. But, now that Natsu has really met him, he wants to know more. Everything about this young man fascinates him, intrigues him. Zalti also stood watching the moon drip ceremony in progress. "So tell me Naruto. Why are allowing the moon drip ceremony to proceed? You were the last person I thought would allow this," Zalti asked. Naruto shrugged nonchalantly. "No need for you to know." Zalti growled, growing even more frustrated each moment. The temple once again then began to shake violently. "I've got a bad feeling that ain't Natsu or Naruto," Gray said grimly. "The ceremony is finally reaching completion," Lion said triumphantly. "The ice ceiling Dealy aura has begun to melt away," Lion noted. Gray thought in terror. "There's nothing you can do, it's too late to stop me. You and your friends have failed. So not even the great Naruto could stop this. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for this moment, Gray? Since I saw you last I've been gathering knowledge, allies who will aid me. I was fortunate enough to discover this place. An island where you can collect the light of the Moongaluna," Lion said pridefully, summoning ice eagles. Sending them off to attack Gray, who evaded them. It wasn't an easy task transporting Dealy aura from Brago. And the moon drip's taken 3 years. Lion smirked. Gray looked in dismay. "You've been wasting your time on this stupid plan for 3 years. Stupid, how dare you say that? You spent the last 10 years in some foolish guild piddling your life away." Lion stormed and fiery. "Because I put my faith in what told me," Gray retorted. "In the western countries, there are lots of wizards who are more powerful than me. So I went west. And eventually made it to Fairy Tail, and she was right. The guild was so full of powerful wizards that I couldn't believe it," Gray told. Flashback. "I don't think I can help you, the iced shell is based on the will of its caster. And because that will is absolute, a third body cannot melt the ice no matter what magic they use," Makarov told. "No way. You're telling even with all the strong wizards you got you can't break the spell," Gray shouted in dismay. "Actually, now that you think about it there may be a way," Makarov said, sparking hope in the young boy. "On second it's not a good idea. If you melt the ice then it would be no different than killing your master," Makarov warned. Flashback ends. "I didn't know it at the time, but I bet the old man was thinking about the moon drip when he said that after everything did for us you'd kill her without a second thought. You make me sick." Gray spat venomously. "Say what you want, I don't care, my entire life has led up to this moment. Our master is long dead. If we want to prove that we have surpassed her then what can we do in her absence? Think, Gray." Lion smirked, transforming parts of his right arm into a chunk of snow. He then lunged at him, who quickly dodged him. "There's only one answer. Dealy aura. I will surpass our master by defeating the one thing she could not," Lion proclaimed, swinging his iced arm endlessly at Gray as he dodged everything. "Well, that's a pretty ambitious plan. But I can't stop thinking that you might have missed the point somewhere along the way," Gray said. Finally breaking Lion's attacks with his own ice sword. "Someone as blind as you can never be better than her. Not in 100 years. Wake up, Lion," Gray commanded, delivering a nasty blow with his sword across his torso. But as it turns out, it was only a fake. Lion reappeared behind Gray slyly. "Fooled you, didn't I? Ice make. Snow tiger," Lion hollered. And a humongous ice tiger burst from the ground, lunging down at Gray. Who in which calm as ever avoided the attack, imprisoning it in an ice prison. Gray landed back on top of the prison he created and looked down at his old friend. "You see this, Lion? This is what you are." Gray insulted. "What?" Lion snapped. "A beast in a cage, lashing out at world he barely knows," Gray taunted. "Utter nonsense. I'll make quick work of that spell of yours." Lion snorted, gesturing his fingers at the tiger, attempting to free it from Gray's ice cage. "Single-handed spell casting is too unbalanced. Your creations will let you down when you need it the most." Gray spat. Gray preformed the steps for the maker magic, holding his arms out like he was carrying and pointing something big. "Ice cannon." Gray hollered, firing it, letting huge chunks of ice out at Lion, who shrieked in pain as it painfully sent Lion through the walls of the temple and completely incapacitated. "Taught us that, remember?" Gray finished. Lion choked weakly before finally falling over in the ultimate defeat. Gray sighed in relief as he looked at his fallen friend. Finally, the last drop of the ice fell and Dealy aura's nightmarish roar was let out. Lucy nearly toppled over as she let out a cry while she covered her ears, attempting to block out the horrendous sound. "My ears weren't ready for this," Happy cried. "That doesn't sound too promising," Urza said grimly. Natsu too fell victim to its demonic roar. "It's so loud." All while Naruto smirked, crossing his arms across his chest as he watched a demon emerge from the ice. "It's about time," Naruto muttered. The ice finally cracked and Dealy aura emerged in anger. "Yes, it's free," Zalti cheered. Gray's face was overshadowed by his wild bangs. "That sound, I can never forget that sound." "Dealy aura," Lion croaked. "They did it, they actually revived it, there's only one thing I can do now, iced shell." SNAZZYCAKE 101 Sub, guys. Here's CH7, I hope you liked it. So let me ask you a question. Do you want Naruto to bring her back? Let me know. It's truth Okurama doesn't even have lift a finger to kill Deliora. Hell, Chibi could easily wreck that thing. And so is Naruto. Stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed. Deliора's roar was so devastating the people from the village could hear it. It could be heard from everywhere in the island and even from the water surrounding it. Finally. The moment is here. Zalti cheered. Naruto grunted at Zalti. He's getting on my nerves, I'm going to have to put him under a Jinjutsu. What the heck was that noise? It sounded like some kind of monster growling. Lucy spoke in horror. It was probably just your stomach, Lucy. Happy teased even at the serious moment right now. You know, you're not half as funny as you think you are. Lucy said irately. So, do you think that sound might have been Deliora? Urza asked nervously. Oh no, you mean they brought it back to life, Lucy shrieked in terror. See that purple light? That's the moon drip. Happy gasped, pointing over to the purple magic circle and the moonlight dipping through it. Then, it came again. The ear-destroying roar of Deliora. Must be Urza muttered. Naruto, I hope you've got a plan. Hey. You need to eat something. Happy demanded. And you need to shut your trap before I hurt you. Lucy snapped. That may be the demon growling, but someone's still performing the moon drip ceremony up there. Which means they haven't fully revived it yet, so that means we have a chance to do something. Come on. Urza commanded as she began running away. Deliora's below us. Lucy said dumbfounded. Putting a stop to the ceremony is our only hope. We've gotta hurry. Urza shouted over. Zalti chuckled. Naruto eyed him in annoyance. And what do you think you're laughing at? Naruto leaped over to him, activating his sharingan. The intense red tomato eyes were enough to shut Zalti up as he stared in fear. What are your eyes? Zalti wasn't able to say no more as he slowly began to fall over unconscious. Naruto fixed his eyes, he noticed the scent he a whiff of wasn't that of a man, but the scent of lady's perfume. That's interesting, Naruto thought as he got back up to his feet. Natsu gasped. What did you just do, Naruto? Naruto looked back to Natsu, who froze in silence as he stared into the blood-red sharingan. Your eyes, Naruto. What happened to it? Natsu asked in concern. This is called the sharingan, I used it to put Zalti under a Jinjutsu, an illusion. It isn't a powerful Jinjutsu, but it is still enough to knock him out for a good few hours. Because at the moment I don't want distraction while fighting Deliora. Naruto explained, deactivating his Dijutsu. Oh, Natsu replied, but realized that Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Hey, where'd he go? And just in time, Urza, Lucy and Happy reached the top of the temple. With one powerful swipe, Urza struck down Toby with her sword, effectively stopping the moon drip. So this guy was doing it all by himself. Happy said in disbelief. Too late. It's over. The ceremony's already been completed. Toby finally said. Urza grunted in frustration. Deliora emerged, now fully freed from the ice that encased it. No way, Lucy muttered in absolute terror. What is this? Something really terrible is happening. The village chief Mocha said grimly. We have to get off the island, chief. A villager panicked, grabbing Mocha's arm, attempting to tug him away from Bobo's gravestone. I'm staying. You and the others can go. I'm not going to leave this place behind. Mocha said stubbornly, holding onto his son's gravestone desperately. Bray looked up at Deliora in disbelief. His nightmare has come true. The ice that was has melted and the demon Deliora has been freed again. Bray bent on, scooping up the water that came from ice in his hand before letting it drip back down to let it flow along with the ice water that melted from ice. He gazed in sorrow, his bangs covering his eyes. Thank you. He whispered. Hey. What are you doing here? Natsu questioned. Natsu? Gray said. There's only one thing we can do now. We gotta take that thing down. Natsu resolved. Neither one of you are strong enough. But I am, I will defeat it. Lion said as he crawled on the ground. Lion Gray muttered. I'm going to surpass her finally. Lion laughed. You can't fight. You can't even get up off the floor. Natsu cried. Deliora roared once again as Lion gazed upon it triumphantly. I've waited so long. For this moment. Lion said. You're looking for the most powerful wizard. Well, I'd say Ur's gotta be the strongest around here. She's been holed up in the mountains ever since she lost her daughter a few years back. I swear I've never met another wizard as skilled as she is. A man said. Lion looked up in amazement. Wow, you think she'll teach me magic? She was strong, but still not strong enough to kill that demon. I'm going to do the one thing never could. Lion vowed. It's bad enough Yo took that punk in. Now you're teaching him magic too, Lion shouted in dismay. He told me he wanted to learn, is that a problem? Asked. You don't need him. You've already got me to take the place of your daughter. Lion shouted carelessly, in which got him a slap on the cheek. Lion clutched his cheek as he looked up at who leaned down and looked him sternly in the eye. Lion, let's get this straight. I've never once thought of you as replacement for my daughter. You are who you are, you're my adorable student. Finally. My dream will be fulfilled. Lion stated in pride. But Gray has had enough of Lion's nonsense and decided to knock him out cold by striking him hard on his nape, and Lion fell to the ground unconscious. Gray then got into the stance of the iced shell, ready to seal the demon away once again. You've caused enough trouble, I'll clean up the mess you've made. I'll seal the demon myself. Iced, shut the hell up all of you. A voice cut off. Gray gasped and looked over in surprise, he stopped what he was doing. Gray and Natsu turned around to see Naruto standing with his arms crossed over his chest beside Lion. Naruto. Gray and Natsu shouted. And where the hell have you been? Natsu demanded furiously. Nowhere, but I finally figured it out, it took me a while, but I did it. Naruto replied, walking over beside Gray. Go away Naruto. I don't want to accidentally seal you in ice when I'm trying to seal Deliora. Gray shouted. I could tell you the same exact thing. Naruto glared, walking over to stand beside Gray, brushing against his shoulder and pushing Gray aside so that he was directly facing the demon. What are you thinking Naruto? Just let me do this. Gray shouted in anger, running over to him, attempting to push out of the way in the same fashion Naruto did. But Naruto easily stood unfazed and flung his arm in a swipe, easily sending Gray flying back, and his back hit against the rock-hard wall. He groaned, Naruto please stop. Let me do this. I understand everything Deliora was never alive, he was dead all along Naruto finalized. Naruto narrowed his eyes, which means it should be quite easy to kill him. Naruto closed his eyes, he held his arm out, flexing his fist and stretching out his fingers. Concentrating, Naruto made sure to only gather a slight amount of chakra to the sole of his fist. Finally, Naruto leaped high above the ground and Deliora, he eyed the demon before curling his hands into a fist and charged down at Deliora. Naruto extended his arm back and slammed his fist into the skull of Deliora. Naruto released his fist and leaped back onto the ground where Deliora began cracking into pieces like a piece of glass on the verge of shattering. Deliora exploded from everywhere and finally went down to a pile of dust and ashes. Lion was dumbfounded, Gray was astonished, and Natsu finally realized what Naruto's plan was. Impossible. Lion shouted in disbelief. So Deliora was already dead. Lion said, realization hitting him hard. Naruto nodded, it took me a while, I sensed something off the moment I came down and saw the actual physical demon encased in ice. Gray's eyes nearly popped out of his eyes as he gaped in utter shock. Natsu grunted in confusion before finally fully understanding the situation. So, is that the reason why you wanted to really fight with Deliora? You already had a feeling didn't you? Natsu said, amazement in his voice. So Naruto you knew all along. You certainly are very clever. Gray muttered. Sorry for doubting you Naruto. Natsu apologized. Naruto shrugged, it's cool. All while Lion sobbed in sorrow and disappointment. The ground rumbled and water leaked out of the temple like multiple waterfalls. What's going on? Happy wondered. I don't know. Lucy replied. For 10 years has gradually depleted the demon's life force. And what we just saw were nothing but its last dying breaths. My dream is dead, there's no hope now I will never surpass her. Lion choked as he punched the ground in fury. Wow, your teacher was pretty awesome. Natsu smiled. I freed you from the darkness Gray I've sealed it away forever. Gray broke down into tears. You saved my life again. Thank you Gray muttered. Natsu grinned. Naruto walked over to Gray, looked up and smiled. Masters are great aren't they? Naruto said. Gray looked up at him in surprise. What do you mean? Naruto gave Gray a sad expression, his deep blue eyes full of sorrow, full of pain and smiled. Naruto placed a hand on Gray's shoulder, Gray, I need you to step back. Gray lifted a brow. Why? Just do it. Naruto said firmly. Gray nodded and stepped back, standing beside Natsu. Gray looked at Naruto in concern and curiosity. That look, for some reason it was full of pain and suffering. And those eyes, it's like they were drained of life. Something tells me this guy has gone through some serious stuff Gray thought. What's he gonna do? Natsu asked. Gray shrugged. I guess we'll just have to watch and see. Gray said anxiously. Naruto breathed in a breath and closed his eyes. He stepped onto the water and stayed on top. Much to Gray and Natsu's shock once again. Holy hell. He can stand on top of water too, this guy is too much. Natsu awed. Gray nodded in agreement. Naruto bit his thumb and a hint of blood splashed out. He performed a series of hand signs before slamming his palm down onto the water and a series of markings appeared, marking the whole entire body of water in the area. Naruto then clasped his hands together, forming a tiger hand sign. Seal of life. Naruto hollered. Gray and Natsu gasped as they noticed the water began drying up and it begun to slowly form into the figure of a female body. Gray watched intently, eyeing the body. No way, don't tell me he's doing what I think he's doing. Until finally, the female body formed into Master. Gray immediately teared up and Lion watched in utter shock. Natsu was completely dazed by what just happened. Gray shouted, running over to her. Looked over and smiled happily as she saw her precious Gray run over to her, ready to embrace her in his arms. Held open her arms, welcoming it. And Gray, not giving a damn that she was completely naked, took her into his arms. "Oh Gray. You're so grown up and big right now." Smiled. All while Naruto stood up and smiled at the reunion, a small trail of blood leaking from his mouth. Naruto frowned, "Damn, that used up more chakra than I thought." Natsu noticed the blood that leaked from Naruto's mouth. He looked over. "Hey buddy, you alright?" Natsu asked in concern. Naruto nodded, "I'm fine, it's just my first time using the jutsu. So I'm not quite used to it and the amount of chakra it uses. But I am fine, don't you worry Natsu." Naruto then struggled to stand up straight, nearly toppling over if it wasn't for Natsu. "Thanks Natsu, I'm fine now." Naruto wiped the blood from his mouth. He watched a tearful reunion of master and student. Boy does it bring him nostalgia. Naruto took off the kusanagi from his back and handed it over to Natsu. "Hold this for me Natsu." Natsu immediately took it and swung it over his shoulder. Naruto then took off his large red sage coat, walked over to her as she let go of Gray. He then gently placed the coat over her so that she would have something to cover her body up. Gray smiled at Naruto gratefully. "Thank you Naruto." Smiled, "What a strange incident, but what an honor to meet such a legendary figure. And you. You've done many great things and you've taught your students well." Naruto praised. Looked at him admirably. Lion, who finally finds the strength to stand himself up, walks over to his fellow master and sibling student. "I'm sorry," Lion apologized guiltily. Sighed, "Oh Lion, come here." Lion quickly lunged at her, embracing her in sobs. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Never again, I promise." Naruto chuckled before hearing the upbeat voice of Lucy calling out to them as she waved happily. "Hey you guys." Urza and Happy followed along. Urza sighed in relief when she saw her team and Naruto safe and sound. Lucy, Urza and Happy both froze and their jaws dropped to the floor when they saw her. Naruto looked over and saw the girls speechless. He laughed and walked over to them. "Naruto, what's going on? What happened? Is that her?" Urza asked. "Yeah, I used a special sealing jutsu to bring her back and it turns out Deliora was already dead, so it only took one hit in order to kill it," Naruto explained. "I see." Urza said. Happy flew over to Natsu, happily cuddling into his arms. Natsu was pretty happy to see him as well. But as soon as he saw Urza, he jumped out of his spot and attempted to run away, but Urza immediately caught him effortlessly. Gray went over to Lion and helped him up, looping his arm around his shoulder. Grinning at him happily, glad that his childhood friend was finally coming to his senses. "Dear Naruto, your sword," Natsu said, walking up and handing back the kusanagi to Naruto. "Thanks." Naruto was approached by Gray, Lion and He turned over to look at the happy trio as he swung the kusanagi onto his back. "Thank you Naruto." Lion thanked. "Yeah, thanks Naruto. I don't know how you are here, but I'll tell you something. I sure am glad as hell you are." Gray chuckled. "No problem. So what's gonna happen, are you gonna join Fairy Tail Naruto asked. Shook her head, "No, I'm going to head back to the mountains. Thank you for bringing me back to life. You really are legendary, you aren't called it for nothing." Naruto chuckled and shook his head in modesty. "You are legendary, sealing the demon away, managing to deplete this demon of its power, and saving your precious students." Titled her head in curiosity. She was no fool, she noticed the deep sorrow and sadness in Naruto's baby blue eyes. "Something must have happened. Have you had any masters or mentors before?" she asked. Naruto smiled sadly, "Yes." He simply replied. Gray narrowed his eyes at Naruto, "So what happened to them?" But Gray dared not to ask, he knew not to beat on up unstable rocks. Urza and Lucy also noticed the little conversation between and Naruto and like Gray, wanted to know more about Naruto. The group finally began walking out back to the surface. But Naruto had one final thing on his mind. "Hey." He called. The group looked back at him with curious faces. "What is it Naruto?" Urza asked, a little nervous crack subtle in her voice. "You guys go on without me, I still have unfinished business to take care of. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I will meet you guys back up there soon," Naruto assured. Urza looked back at the group and sighed, "Okay. Be careful." Naruto nodded. And with that, the group went on without him. Meanwhile, Zalti groaned as he opened his eyes, waking up to the horrible ache in his head and the painful bruise that he felt in his hips. Finally, Zalti's eyes were wide open. He saw himself still underground alone where Deliora was. He also noticed that the demon was no longer there. Instead, he only found the shattered remnants of Deliora. In rage, he slammed his fist into the ground and screamed in rage. Very easily and much to Naruto's annoyance, disrupting his peaceful Zen mode. Where he sat on top of the water, his legs in crisscross form, his hands pressed together in a meditation form and his eyes closed. Naruto sighed in dismay and immediately jumped to his feet and looked at the disheveled petite masked man sitting on the ground, throwing an immature tantrum. Seeing that, Naruto couldn't help but chuckle at the stupidity he is seeing. You know, that's quite the tantrum you're throwing right there. He teased. Zalti growled and turned over to see the blonde shinobi standing on top of water. Go to hell. I could say the same for you. Naruto said, coldness obvious through his tone of voice. Zalti grunted. Naruto then began slowly treading over to the little man. And by the way, you can drop the disguise. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me, miss. Naruto grinned playfully. Zalti widened his eyes in shock. But how? I don't know what you are talking about. Don't you dare call me a miss, I am a man. Zalti denied stubbornly. Naruto sighed, well, anywho. I need you to do me a favor. TCH, why would I ever help you? Zalti scoffed. Naruto looked at him with ice-cold eyes, his kind baby blue eyes turned to icy blue. Naruto walked closer over to Zalti and bent down, so he was level with Zalti's head and he was face to face with him. His now ice-cold eyes staring at him, no sign of kindness was shown. Listen to me closely. You will use your powers to revert the now destroyed village back to normal. If you try anything suspicious, I guarantee you will surely regret it. Got that? Naruto said quietly, his tone deadly. Naruto's ice-cold blue eyes and his deadly tone sent shivers down Zalti's spine. Out of pure fear of him, Zalti nodded. His body trembling. Naruto then immediately smiled innocently at Zalti and got up and gazed down at him. Naruto walked away, his back turned to Zalti. Just to be sure you do exactly as I say, I will be watching you. I definitely do not trust someone like you. Naruto harshly as he looked back with a stingray eye. Zalti only groaned in anger. So, who are you really? Naruto asked, his voice softening a little. Zalti sighed with reluctance and decided for some reason only God knows to show him his true form. Or should we say, her. Zalti then became a drop-down gorgeous young woman with long straight black hair and oddly similar features to her. This is my true form. My name is Altair. She said. And to her surprise, Naruto gave her a warm smile. You're a beautiful young lady, why hide yourself under a man? Naruto asked. Altair smiled at the compliment Naruto gave her. That is none of your business. Altair snapped. Naruto chuckled. Decided to take her leave right away, so Urza decided to give her the boat that she and Naruto used to get to Galuna Island. Gray and Lion tearfully bid goodbye to their precious master before they parted ways. But their hearts can now rest in ease, knowing that is alive and well. Urza, Lucy, Natsu and Happy looked on in bittersweetness. Was alive, but she would once again go back to isolated areas and live out the life she was magically given by Naruto. Lucy sighed in relief, glad that this mess is now over. I was really worried for a moment right there. Both and Naruto are amazing. Urza perked her head up in realization. Speaking of Naruto, where is he? She asked in concern. Oh yeah, he said he is staying behind to take care of unfinished business. What do you think he meant? What unfinished business? Gray wondered. Urza shrugged. I don't know. Naruto is amazing, you should have seen him. Not only did he defeat Deleora with only a single blow, but he knew all along of Deleora's condition. Naruto was even capable of bringing her back to life. Natsu said, still in awe. There's still lots to learn about you, isn't there? Urza had in her mind, she smiles. Slightly blushing. But to their relief, from a distance, they could see sun-kissed blonde hair. Instantly, they knew it was Naruto. He waved to the group and smiled. Hey Naruto. Lucy shouted to him. Naruto ran over to meet the group. Hey guys. So, where is Did she leave already? He asked. Yeah. Urza replied. I see. Naruto nodded. Natsu jumped in joy. We totally finished the S-class quest by ourselves. Lucy's eyes sparked in excitement. You think Master Makarov will let us in the second floor now? Gray chuckled. But their joy was quickly washed away whenever Urza sent them a vicious glare. Natsu, Lucy and Happy gaped in panic while Gray only scrunched his eyes in annoyance. Oh no. You're still gonna punish us, huh? Lucy shouted in horror. Isn't there something that you all are forgetting? You came to this island to help the villagers. The request was for you to return them to their original form. You still haven't completed your S-class quest yet. Urza pointed out. But I don't understand, the curse should be lifted now because Deleora is dead. Lucy said, puzzled. Wrong, this curse you keep talking about had nothing to do with the demon. The villagers have been affected by the intense magic energy released by the moon drip spell. In other words, Deleora's death isn't going to change their current situation whatsoever. Urza said. Lucy gasped in fright. Oh no. Naruto and Urza's attention was brought over to Natsu. Well then, we better go change them back. He grinned as he gave Happy an excited high five. Aye sir. Happy chirped. Yeah, but we don't know how. Gray voiced in concern. But perking his head up and turning over to look at Lion, who was sitting on the, still recovering from his wounds. Lion, do you know? Gray asked in hope. To be quite honest, I don't have a clue. Lion answered bluntly with a serious face. You don't know, Natsu grunted. What? Happy added on. They told us the curse started the same time you guys got here. Lucy inquired. When we first arrived 3 years ago, we were aware that there was a village somewhere on this island. But we had absolutely no reason to communicate with the villagers, so we left them alone. And they never came to the temple to see what we were up to. Lion provided. In 3 years, you've never once met? Urza said suspiciously. Looking over to Naruto, who was also intrigued by this new information. He too, was attempting to solve the puzzle. What are you thinking right now, Naruto? Urza narrowed her eyes. I don't understand, the moon drip is so bright, you can practically see anywhere on the island. It's kinda weird that they saw it every night, but they never went to investigate it. Lucy said. The villagers weren't transformed by a moon drip, it doesn't affect the human body. Lion let in. Naruto widened his eyes. This is getting more and more interesting. What? Urza gasped. Yeah right. You're just saying that so you and lackeys will be off the hook. Natsu revoked. Hold on Natsu, let's hear out Lion here. He may be right, he may be lying to us. But there's no harm in learning new, useful information. Actually, the more I learn, the more it makes sense to me. And the more I'm more confident about my theory. Naruto disagreed. Natsu grunted in frustration. Urza raised a brow in confusion. Theory. Naruto shook his head, that's not important right now, I can't confirm it right now. Let's just hear out Lion for now. The group nodded. Just think about it, I've been exposed to it longer than they have, and my appearance hasn't changed one bit. Lion stated. That's true. Lucy exclaimed. Lion crossed his arms and frowned. I wouldn't trust them, those villagers are hiding something. But, I'm sure you guild wizards can handle it. Especially since you have the special help of Naruto Uzumaki. We're not done with you. You destroyed the village. Natsu was cut off when Urza's hand reached over to squeeze Natsu's cheeks, effectively shutting him help. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle. That's quite enough Natsu. Urza scolded. You really wanna know why we joined Lion? All because our families were killed by Deliora and we wanted to get revenge. He convinced us that if we helped him release the demon he would kill it. And it would be gone forever. Toby said sadly. They were simply doing what they believed to be right, so there's no need to criticize them for it. Let's go. Urza finally let go of Natsu, walking away. Wait, what are we gonna do to lift the curse? Natsu shouted. I have no idea. Urza simply replied. Oh great. What about you Naruto? Lucy turned over to her fellow blonde. But, to her dismay, Naruto shrugged. She sighed. Gray then turned back over to peer at his childhood friend. Uncomfortable with Gray looking at him, Lion gave Gray an unfriendly glare. What are you looking at? He snapped. I know you don't want to hear it, but you really should join a guild. You might make new friends, meet new rivals and maybe even find a new dream to live for. Gray told. Lion scoffed, shrugging it off. Whatever, just get out of here. Gray smirked. Urza then walked over to Naruto, seeing how she noticed him glancing at her as they were hearing lie. Like, she knew they were thinking exactly the same thing. Urza had no idea why, but ever since spending more and more time with Naruto, she's gained a connection to him. Slowly, he is taking down the wall he's built for himself. Urza wanted to believe that eventually Naruto would finally open up slowly. He only needed time. Are you thinking what I'm thinking right now? She asked. Are thinking that the villagers' true forms isn't really human, but they're actually demons? Naruto asked. And the real reason why the moon is purple is because of a shield caused by the moon drip, giving the moon a purple look. Urza continued. And that the villagers must have lost their memories as well. Naruto finished. He smirked and looked over to Urza who grinned smugly at him. He was thinking exactly the same thing as she was. So is there a plan? Naruto asked. I was hoping you'd have one. No worries, I got it. Urza assured. Naruto nodded. That's weird, where is everybody? Happy wondered. You sure they came here? Natsu asked in doubt. Yeah, this is their camp. I wonder where they could have gone. Lucy said. Hello? Happy called out, attempting to call out to any stranding villagers. Naruto's lit up in hope. Could the villagers have gone back to the village? Did she really restore the village? You finally made it back. There's something you need to see. Please, follow me to the village. A villager cried in joy as he came running in. The villagers rejoiced in happiness, glad to see their precious village restored and back to normal. Naruto smirked, she really did it. Whoa. Are you kidding me? Lucy gaped in shock. Yesterday it was a total mess, but now it looks perfect. Happy noticed. What's going here? The village is back to normal, it's like it went back in time. Natsu shouted in baffle as he banged his fist against a village hut, still in doubt. Lucy deadpanned, now that it's fixed, you probably shouldn't touch anything. Natsu. Natsu didn't that line very well, he turned over to Lucy in irritation. Are you saying I destroy everything I touch? Well, kinda. Lucy simply replied. Wait, back in time? Natsu perked. He put a hand under his chin, trying to figure out whether it was really Zalti that fixed the village. Was it him? Nah, it couldn't be. Unless he had a change of heart. Natsu trailed off but turned over and walked over nonchalantly. Ah, who cares? He blew off. Not me. Happy beamed. What are you talking about? Oh, I forgot about out stuff. Lucy suddenly realized. Again, Mocha sat in front of Bobo's grave. Still unable to part himself away from it. Lucy saw and approached him slowly. Bobo's grave is back. I'm so glad, and I'm sure the chief must be relieved. Lucy thought in relief. You and your wizard friends used magic to restore our village, didn't you? Mocha said, twisting his head around to look at the busty blonde. Well sir, that's not. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. However, I must now. When are you wizards finally going to destroy the moon for? Well, he blurted. Lucy had no words for him. Destroying the moon is a simple task, sir. Urza assured. Naruto came in beside her and nodded in agreement. I agree with her. What the did she just say that with a straight face? And am I going crazy or did Naruto just agree to her idea? Gray said in awe. Maybe they both gone crazy. Happy inquired. But before I do that, I need to ask you all a few questions. Would you assemble everyone for a meeting? Urza requested. Let me make sure I have my facts straight. The first time the villagers took on these demonic forms was when the moon began to turn purple, is that correct? Urza said. Yes, during the day we're fine. But when the moon comes out, we transform into what we see now. Mocha responded. And the moon first turned purple 3 years ago. Urza continued. Wow, has it really been that long? Villager 1 asked in shock. Yeah. Another replied. We've learned that the moon drip ceremony on this island every night for the last 3 years. And each night it produced a light so brilliant you couldn't possibly have missed it. Urza confirmed. Hey Urza, watch out. Naruto shouted in warning, quickly rushing over, just in time to catch Urza's wrist, preventing her from falling. Whoa, even Lucy's pitfall trap got Urza. If it wasn't for Naruto, she would have fallen. Happy said. Natsu and Gray only nodded. With ease, Naruto pulled Urza up and with the help of him, she slowly hoisted herself up from the pit. Are you okay? Naruto asked, looking into her eyes with big blue eyes. Urza's face dropped hints of a light-shaded blush. Why yes. Thank you Naruto. Urza replied, slowly walking away from Naruto. So anyway, back to the subject. Didn't you all wonder where the light was coming from? Urza resumed. I don't understand, why won't anyone investigate? Urza asked. The villagers began murmuring to each other, sweat drops appeared on their faces. Well, we would have looked into it, but according to village lore, our people must never go near that temple. Mocha answered with a tremble. But who cares about village lore when your own people are dying? You obviously knew there was a problem because you contacted the magic guilds. Lucy said. There was a long silence. Urza gazed at the villagers and back to Naruto. He only glanced at her, encouraging her to keep pressing for the truth. Assuming that was his message, Urza continued on. Why don't you tell us what's really going? Urza demanded. To be honest, we don't even know that ourselves. Allow me to explain. We've tried to investigate the light many times. We'd take up weapons we never had to use. I trimmed and styled my sideburns and then we ventured into the jungle towards the temple. But we could never get near it. We'd get close enough that we could see it through the trees and suddenly, we'd find ourselves back at the village gates. Mocha explained. Lucy gave a look of concern, but how's that possible? It doesn't make sense. We got into the temple without problem at all. How weird. Natsu said in suspicion. Naruto furrowed his brows. I don't think the villagers are what they proclaimed to be. We didn't say anything to you because we were worried you wouldn't believe us. Villager 1 reasoned. We're telling you the truth. We've tried to go back to the temple many times. Villager 2 said. But not a single villager was able to get inside. Villager 3 said in fright. Urza nodded, finally fully understanding the real problem. She looked over to Naruto, who also seemed to have solved the puzzle. I get it now. You do too, don't you Naruto? She called out. Naruto nodded his head. Lucy, Gray and Natsu gazed in utter puzzlement. From afar, Zalti chuckled. Impressive Titania, Naruto Uzumaki. I should have known it wouldn't have taken you long to figure it out. TCH, that damn Naruto. Urza began transforming her armor, walking away. Natsu, Naruto, come with me. I need your help to destroy the moon. Naruto smirked and Natsu chuckled in triumphant and excitement. All while Lucy, Gray and Happy gaped in complete utter shock. What if Naruto has sharingan and byakugan in Fairy Tail, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.